Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Mythic Banter. I'm here with Elon. We're going to be giving you all of the important gaming news as well as a healthy dose of big drama, because today was a big drama week. Am I right, Elon?
Oh, dude, the drama is back. Like last week was the first time, I think, since we started the channel that we didn't open with really drama because it was too early in the year. People were still getting settled in. As soon as people were settled in, they immediately started the drama.
Dude, it was instant. Like this week is, if you are a drama enjoyer, bro, this week has been good content for you. Okay?
It's been good eating. Like no, just drama everywhere, dude. Some of it is just ridiculous. Like the fact that it's this, that's the thing oftentimes that makes, like, this is almost the best kind of drama. You see, because you get like proper real world drama that sort of hinges on almost illegal crap, right? Which is very difficult to discuss. Like the doctor disrespect stuff. That's very difficult to discuss. You have to walk a minefield. But then you have this drama that is juicy, but it's juicy because it's stupid as hell.
It's so dumb.
Because it shouldn't even be drama, but it is drama. And you know there's people taking this shit super seriously, right?
Yeah,
like there's
giga serious business, bro.
Which is like the most, because you're looking from the outside in, you're not involved in that nonsense, so you just get a good laugh out of it. You know, it's awesome. But before we get into that, we first and foremost want to thank all of you for joining us once again for another week of the Mythic Banter. And please remember to hit that like if you have not already done it. And also hit that subscribe. The vast majority of you are not subscribed to this channel.
I'll even give you a tip of the hat. Huh? How about that? Mm-hmm.
There you go. Right? The vast majority of you are not subscribed. And it really does help out the channel. It helps tell YouTube that, hey, people like the channel. Maybe you should tell more people about the channel. So all in all, if you like the show, please consider subscribing. Okay, before we get into the drama.
We should also mention just real quick, we know that last week we had like 2 episodes. That's because I am a greedy bastard and lazy.
Yep.
And what I do is I just record my camera at an unreasonable high quality. And the camera is not even that good to begin with. It's just... I just
Rurikon, literally what Rurikon is doing with his camera, is the equivalent of downloading RAM. Like, he is just increasing the quality
and
to the point
nothing.
where the camera cannot do this quality, but he thinks more bits, more better.
The reality is, like, I use the same settings that I use to record gameplay because I'm lazy, and it's just like you know, I record gameplay at like 25,000 kbits, and then I'm like, all right, let's do the same thing for the camera. I don't care. And then it's like, oh, there's a big 30 gigabyte file that needs to be uploaded. I'm like, my internet's good enough. Still don't care. But then last week, our editor goes like, my computer can't take it anymore. Please, not like this. And then I was like, oh, okay. And that's why there's 2 episodes, because our editor couldn't actually render the big ass episode that we did last week.
But to be fair, also,
me. My apologies.
It's not just on you, though, to be fair. Last week was more than 3 hours, like way more than 3 hours. If you put them together, the one is 1 hour and 50 something minutes. The other is an hour and a half. Right? So it is ridiculously long.
It's a girthy episode. But anyway, let's get started on this one so that we don't make it quite as girthy, okay? We'll lube it up a little bit so that it doesn't go in quite
slide
as
right through easy.
Right in.
Easy does it.
So get us started, Akalon. What do we got?
Okay, so before we get into the drama, we're going to try out something new. There's breaking news. Rumors are starting to circulate that Corinne Busche, now for those of you who think, well, that name is vaguely familiar.
Dude, you know the idea that I just had? Whenever we do breaking news, we should have the drama alert theme playing.
Oh, yeah. We should actually also just do that breaking news. Breaking news. Like that proper Hollywood crap.
Yeah. production.
No, okay, so Corinne Busche, if you think that name is familiar, that's because it is. This is the person solely responsible, pretty much, for the destruction of a beloved franchise.
Okay, I would just real quick. I wouldn't say she's the sole responsible.
No, 100%. She is 100% to blame for everything.
Okay,
she did everything from the animation to the voice act. Everything is just her.
It's like if that's the way we're taking it. But yeah, Corinne Busche, I believe that her title is game director of Dragon Age or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, so Corinne is the game director for Dragon Age, The Veilguard. The problem with Corinne is he has a biography that is all Sims. All of the years that he's been in video game designing has been Sims. And then suddenly from Sims gets promoted to game director for an RPG. And you think to yourself, how does this work? Like, Sims is not an RPG. It is a lifestyle simulation game. What qualifies you to be running an RPG, right? So Corinne Busche was wildly unqualified to do the job that they've been given. All of that said, the rumors now circulating is that Corinne Busche has left Bioware to, I guess, go ruin another RPG somewhere else. And then, more importantly, the Edmonton studios are rumored to be closing down. EA is closing down the studios. Edmonton is their head office, by the way. That's the big flagship building for Bioware. Which,
here's one of the things that I would take away from it is get some of those animators, because they did good work. I thought that the animations were pretty good. Get the people that worked on the, what was it called? I think it's the Siege of Weishaupt and the actual, the final mission. Those story beats were kind of neat. So I would grab a couple of those people that maybe worked on these, some of these better parts of the game, and like they're qualified to do stuff. But like the people that did a majority of the dialogue, yeah, I got bad news, bro. It's time for you to go back to The Sims, okay? Go back to The Sims.
I mean, to be fair, it is kind kind of Sims dialogue.
Exactly.
Insofar as it Sims is just...
It's just in the wrong place. It's just in Dragon Age. Yeah. Like, you don't want Sims dialogue in Dragon Age, especially because you can't actually understand the Sims. They speak in nonsense language like... Dude,
that sounds like a scene from Dragon Age The Veilguard there.
Yeah. I can't argue, and I've played the whole game, so I can't really
continue. Yeah, you actually did play the whole game. I could get 8 hours into it, and I was like, this is enough.
No, bro. I like torturing myself. See, that's what it is.
I would say, so Corinne Busche leaving the company, rumored at this point, that's not a surprise to me, right? It isn't. Corinne was wildly unqualified to do the job that they did. That being said, the bigger surprise to me is the Edmonton studios closing down. Because usually when big flagship buildings start closing down around a studio, that's because the parent company is getting ready to dissolve the studio and pull it into the main team. So basically fire most of them, keep the few developers that you want to keep, and just bring them into either DICE or Respawn or, inside EA.
Because basically, I would imagine that what EA is going to start doing is they're going to start consolidating and focusing on their sports games, which are their big cash cows. Because that's kind of like what we're witnessing from the industry as a whole, is just in the AAA space particularly, there's going to be way less risk-taking. Because even, you remember the story that we had a couple of podcasts ago where, I think it was Take Two or whatever, we're in the business of making big games and everybody else can just like piss off. That was kind of like basically what is happening. So there's a lot of teams right now in AAA that are just like doubling down, quadrupling down on just focusing on big titles. And everything else it has to go, which is also involved with the fact that, again, a story we talked about in the last podcast, how was it 2020 or 2022, whatever it was, that Call of Duty costed $700 million. So it's just like these budgets are ballooning to completely unsustainable levels, and because of that, yeah, companies are going to be clamping down. And I think that Bioware is very much moving on to the chopping block, which is weird because I remember so many people in mainstream media saying like, oh, look at the amazing success that is Dragon Age Veilguard, when it was able to achieve like 80,000 concurrent users on Steam, and
for one day.
Yeah, and I remember looking at that and I was like, I mean, I know that I haven't played Dragon Age for a very long time, but 80,000 concurrents doesn't really impress me for a game like Dragon Age.
No.
Like, it'd be impressive if it was a brand new IP or something like that. Yes, impressive. But if it's not a brand new IP, then no, I don't think that, especially for something like Dragon Age, which is, it even won like Game of the Year with Dragon Age Inquisition and all of that stuff. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the big problem with Dragon Age the Veilguard and the coverage of it was just the fact that they kept using technicalities to try and drum up the game. So they would say this is BioWare's biggest launch on Steam ever. But then they failed to mention that BioWare historically has made the terrible decisions to never launch on Steam.
On Steam, yeah.
Yeah. Like they say, oh, it did so much better than Dragon Age Inquisition. It's like, yeah, because Inquisition came to Steam 2 years after launch. Like, what are you talking about?
Yep. I remember that.
So the game, but I think we are seeing what you just said there, right? A consolidation within the gaming market and AAA studios sort of hyper-focusing on the things that actually still make them money, refusing to go paint outside the lines. And this is backed up by my own insider at Ubisoft that I made a video for, and that's now been covered by Fandom Pulse and Smash JT and Endymion. What I've been told there is that the studios are effectively, you have these superstar developers that people know about, like a Chris Mason or, Miyazaki, those guys. Then you have the bulk of the, what we would call good developers, right? These are guys that they're not known. They don't have Twitter feeds and all the rest of it, but they do their job. They know how to develop and they love video games. But then you have the majority of the studios now, specifically at AAA, because for those of you that don't know, there's been an exodus in the AAA space that we don't even necessarily know about because, again, media outlets don't write about the good AAA developers that leave, that don't have Twitter posts or Twitter brands, so to speak. Because who's going to know that Pete, Chris from BioWare that worked there for 10 years, left the company, but he has 5 followers on his Twitter, right? No one's going to click that article because no one knows who Pete is. Pete is just the dude that worked at BioWare. But Pete was incredibly good at what Pete did. He just didn't have a brand. So I spoke to I'm busy talking to another developer that is one of the higher ups at a AA studio that basically revealed that what I just said, there's been an exodus. They get inundated with emails from AAA developers wanting to come work in the AA space. This person themselves worked in the AAA space and realized after 5 years, what the hell am I doing? I hate working here. Getting anything done is a nightmare. Getting the smallest little thing done is basically like moving mountains within AAA. So what you have is just so many developers that don't know how to do their jobs and therefore embrace the sort of political side of gaming, start pushing politics into companies. This was according to my insider, so this is not even me saying it. This is according to my insider, that these developers, and it kind of makes sense when you think most of these developers have just left university.
No,
and university campuses are incredibly politically active at the moment.
I wasn't going like being dismissive. I was like, yeah, that's all we hear about in mainstream media, which is frustrating as hell. People are more interested in talking about that than the actual quality of video games, which is why kind of like Veilguard just became this kind of I don't even know what to call it, but like a hill on the culture war that some people chose to die on and on one side or the other, when in reality it's just like Veilguard is just not that great of a game to begin with. It really is just that simple.
And BioWare closing down following the failures of Dragon Age the Veilguard. is very much in line with everything I'm hearing from sources within the industry.
I've heard a lot about Mass Effect 5. I would imagine they at least pumped that one out, considering that it's been in the oven for a while. I would be surprised if they don't pump out Mass Effect 5, but to be honest, I can't say I have a whole lot of faith, especially after that story that we covered where apparently most people from Veilguard were being folded in to go work at Mass Effect 5, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I have a theory about that. Now, this is just 100% speculation, but it is very difficult to fire people, specifically in places like Canada, places like California. Getting rid of developers can be tough, especially when you have to offer layoffs, because layoffs are not cheap. You have to basically give these people packages that basically allow them to live for 6 months on paychecks and all the rest of it. So it can be very expensive.
As you should, by the way.
Yeah. Well, depending on. If you're laying people off because they're useless, I don't think they should get any package. But never mind that, right? They do what they do. However, when you close down a studio and you just let a bunch of developers go, oftentimes you can get away with, you still have to do layoff packages, but you can get away with a lot more because you're closing down the studio, right? You just don't need all of those developers anymore. And then what you do is you keep the talent. I think that might happen with Mass Effect. Keep the talented developers, let all of the dead weight go, and then make Mass Effect in-house. So bring it into EA, make the game in-house, because technically EA does own the IP, and get rid of Bioware as a whole. That might be one way they go with it. I also agree with you. I don't see them just straight up canceling Mass Effect 5. Yeah. I mean, they've been at it for a while now. There's even a full-blown cinematic of it. Bad cinematic, but there is a cinematic for the game. You know, basically a cinematic that shows nothing. But it is a cinematic.
It's the one with the coat, right? Where they show the character with the coat or whatever. I think I've seen that.
I think right at the end. It's the one where they show the whole galaxy and then zoom into the galaxy and zoom in, and they show nothing else. It's just that. And you're like, wow.
Impressive.
Cool. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So hopefully we get to see Mass Effect 5. Hopefully it's not a complete disaster the same way with Dragon Age the Veilguard.
I don't know, dude. The dialogue of Veilguard, it's just like, bro, if you bring that into Mass Effect 5, it's like I'm going to be completely real, and I'm going to say something that a lot of people are going to get upset. But it's like, listen, if Mass Effect 5 is going to have the same quality of dialogue that Dragon Age Veilguard has, I would rather it not be released. I really would, because it would, in certain parts, it was kind of painful to just like remember Origins, bro? Origins was so good. God damn, bro. Origins was amazing. Why would you do this? It makes me so sad. It's like,
it is heartbreaking.
So it's like, if I'm going to have to suffer through that with Mass Effect as well, it's like, just don't put me through that pain. I'd rather not. Because I'm going to play it no matter what. Like, that thing comes out, I'll play it because I'll want to give like my full-on opinion on it, and I have to play the whole thing to really make a video on it. And I don't, it's like a lot of people. So
mark your calendars, guys. Rurikon is definitely coming out with another hour-long review video of Mass Effect 5.
People think that I have fun tearing these. There's a reason why there's a bunch of games that I straight up will not cover, because I'm not interested in doing the type of content that's like, I want to dive in and really just like, twist the knife. Yeah. It's like, I don't like doing this. It's not fun for me. The reason I do it is because if I'm going to cover something, I need to do it properly. I don't like these too many surface level looks. And so when I did the 1 hour video thing, I wasn't like, oh man, this is so much fun. I'm so happy I get to rip into this. It was more like, man, I wasted 99 hours of my life in this thing, bro. And it's like, it just makes me sad, Yeah.
But did you have fun?
I mean, there's a part of me that had fun because I got to play a dwarf. If I didn't get to play a dwarf, I wouldn't have had fun. Hell, if I didn't get to play a dwarf, I wouldn't have finished the game and I wouldn't have made the video. Straight up. No,
Yeah.
no, I mean, I might have made a lighter video, like maybe a 15-minute video or something, just going like, okay, guys, look, I couldn't finish it. It's pretty bad. Didn't like it. Fuck it. But because there was a dwarf in there, I was like, man, look at my dwarf. You look so cool, man.
Dude, I'm going to start making reviews like that.
Character.
I'm going to start making reviews like that.
Yeah.
Just like 10-second reviews. Hey guys, just played this game, really enjoyed it. Peace. Hey guys, played this game, didn't like it. Peace.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. Just that.
It's like
that's the whole video.
It's like those food videos that you see now on YouTube Shorts. There's a bunch of people doing like these really quick sub 60-second food videos. We're like, oh yeah, I ate this thing. It was really delicious, fantastic. 10 out of 10. I was like, wow.
10 out of 10 would do it again. 1 out of 10, never again. That's it. That's the review.
There's a lot of videos like that.
I think people would love that. Just quick and easy.
Quick and
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, so on to the drama.
So just
now, Rurikon.
So just real quick to basically round this out. The whole point is probably Corinne Busche might have left Edmonton studios. She sent out an email to her whole team. Again, this is rumors. We don't actually know if that happened or not. It's just because we tend to ramble on too much, and sometimes you kind of lose the crux of what the topic was.
Yeah,
but
that's
true. Let's jump into the drama, the big juicy drama, bro.
Can you fill us in on what can only be described as hell in classic?
Yeah, like, listen, guys, you need to understand, everybody needs to be paying attention to this very particular situation. This is extreme serious business because this all took place in a hardcore World of Warcraft in the extremely challenging content of Dire Maul. Who could have seen this coming, bro? I mean, Dire Maul, usually you have like a big briefing with your team before you jump into Dire Maul because it's just like this extremely heinous, dungeon. It's also a place where it is very much advised for your tanks not to clear everything and to try and be as efficient as possible in clearing packs, which means skip as many packs as you possibly can in order to be efficient with your time, because it's not like you're playing hardcore where you only get one life. So definitely you should be leaving packs all over the fucking dungeon.
I mean,
this
use
is the way
invisibility potions if you have to skip stuff.
Exactly,
I mean,
invisibility.
That's usually the best way to go.
Stuff. So what happened was there was this group of people. I don't know any of these people except for Piratesoftware, and the only reason I even know of Piratesoftware is because he's a massive content creator. Like, that's it. But I'm led to believe that the other people are content creators as well because this is part of Soda Poppin's guild. Well,
only Fangs.
Not Soda Poppin's guild anymore, which that's another thing that we don't even have in the topics, but we got to bring that up. That'll be hilarious too. But, these are all part of Soda Poppin's guild, Only Fangs, which is a guild basically for content creators, which is a guild that was created essentially to generate content.
It's a content guild.
Yeah,
it is a content guild.
So 100%. The whole point is to generate situations similar to this one, where a lot of people get to make videos about it and everybody gets content from live streaming, YouTube, all of that jazz, right? So this group is going through the dungeon and they're just like lazily going through it and they're just talking about stuff and just like chilling. Now, one of the things, as I started looking more and more into it, is that the actual situation that generated the drama was not the first bad situation that they've experienced. Okay. So they were actually before we even get to the event, there was another event where they were trying to pull something and things went wrong and everybody starts running. And even in that event, Thor, who is Thor being Piratesoftware, for people that don't know, who is playing a mage, he was like, bro, the second somebody calls run, Thor is like, he's in a different zip code, bro. He's like,
he doesn't stop. He just goes.
Like,
speed
zoom.
Motions, blink, you name it, he's out.
So it's like, even in the first situation, because I then watched the video of the first situation, pull goes wrong, the call to run is made, and Thor is just like he is miles away from his group, okay? I was looking like, damn, all right, that's cool. And so eventually the situation that occurred was they're pulling very sloppily. Their tank is, and rather than peeling back, which is usually what you do in a situation like if there's too many mobs and patrols and stuff, which Dire Maul does have a lot of mobs that patrol and they're a little bit tough and all of that stuff. So usually what you do is you clean up everything if you want to be extra safe. But if you want to be a little bit more risky, you don't clean up everything. But at the very least, if you're the tank, you're going to pull stuff back so that everybody has room to work and whatnot. And what ends up happening is the tank tanks the mobs kind of like on their spawn. And there's a boss that patrols in that area. So he pulls the boss, but at the same time, a druid is trying to like get extra damage by going behind the mobs, and he pulls like a second pack or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically what ends up with is like a big old pack of mobs. Now, this is not
more than classic hardcore will allow for most of the time.
No, the thing is not really. This is not, I've looked at the size of the mobs and the health of the mobs and all of that stuff, and I'm like, kind of feel like you guys could have just killed all that. If you just like didn't panic, you probably could have killed all that stuff, but they panic, and you know somebody starts saying, "Run, run, 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 run." This is straight up full on panic mode. What does Piratesoftware do?
Don't have to tell me twice. Exactly. I'm already out, boys.
So Thor starts running. Now, to his defense, Thor does look back once. He looks back once, casts Blizzard. We'll talk about this. He looks back once, casts Blizzard, and then he just books it. He doesn't look back anymore. He's like, good luck, boys. 07, you know, GG's in chat. I'm out. Okay. And so he leaves, and what ends up happening? The tank is, I think it was the tank, is panicking. He's like, guys, just come back and heal me a little bit. And so the healer goes back and heals him, and 07's for the healer, because that healer died. And then shortly after that, the druid who pulled an additional pack because he was trying to attack from the back, he died as well. And by this time, by the way, Thor's like all the way at the entrance of the
yeah, he's waiting outside. Yeah. He's like, guys, what's going on? Like, where are you guys?
People are dying left and right. 2 people end up dying. And now I understand that maybe for people that don't play classic World of Warcraft, they might not be aware, but like, you know, getting to level 60 used to be a pretty big deal. It's not like nowadays in retail WoW where getting to level 60 is just a matter of you buying a boost. That's kind of how it works. You know, you
or just log into the game, basically.
Or you log
These
into
days,
the game,
getting to 60 is easiest thing in the world.
You know, so you get to max level super fast nowadays. You know, in classic World of Warcraft, not quite like that. It's a big investment. So naturally, people are upset. And as people are upset, they all start analyzing and they start talking about how like, oh man, where did we go wrong? What did we do wrong? And Piratesoftware just goes like, look, you guys weren't paying attention. You pulled too much. You didn't notice that I didn't have mana. Yeah, man, there was nothing I could do. I played everything perfect, blah, 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 blah. And then people start like, hey, now wait a minute. You're the mage. So usually what happens in these types of situations is mages have a lot of what we call CC. So for those of you that don't play World of Warcraft, this is called crowd control. And crowd control is things like they're able to root monsters in place. If you do Frost Nova, now I believe that the boss can't be rooted in place, but I think all of the other ads could have been rooted in place, which would have greatly helped. You can do Frost Nova. I don't know can you do Cone of Cold in Classic? I forget if that's a thing, because I don't play
I'm not sure.
But
even that would just slow, so you could just Blizzard.
Yeah, but even if you just slow mobs, like everybody else can like start running away, because the problem is...
But the boss would still be immune to that.
Yeah, but then you're just taking hits from the boss, not like a massive pack that's coming at you. Because the thing is, again, for people that don't know, in World of Warcraft, you can't just turn around and run. Because you can do that, say, in Final Fantasy XIV, because block works 360. But in World of Warcraft, blocking, parrying, and dodging, all of these things are directional. The moment you turn your back, these are free hits. And free hits with your back turn often cause something called daze, which means you're actually slowed, your defenses are even worse, and you're just kind of like screwed. So the whole idea is that in these situations, the mage saves people by slowing the mobs, by freezing the mobs, by doing all of these things, whereas Thor just like booked it out of there. Now, here's my position when it comes to this whole drama. The fault lies in the shot caller, who, rather than give clear instructions like, okay, guys, we're going to slowly walk back, He just goes like, run, everybody run for your lives. Like the dude is like in a full on
And that's
panic.
all Thor needed to hear.
Exactly.
Like when he heard run, he was like, I'm out.
So what ends up happening, in my opinion, is like, look, when you are leading a group, you have to be very clear in your instructions. This is why whenever I played World of Warcraft, and ever since whenever I go back to World of Warcraft, there is one guy that I trust. There's one guy, my good friend Q. He is the only guy that I will trust to lead a party, because most of the people who try to lead parties, they're not qualified. They're a bunch of idiots and they panic at the least thing, or they rage out, or they just like, they lose their fucking minds. Like, World of Warcraft is the most important thing in the world. My guy Q, he just like, he chill. He's like, okay, guys, let's do it. Like, super chill. So that's what you need in a situation like that. And what they had was somebody screaming, run. And then it's like, actually, don't run. And it's like, this is not somebody who knows what they're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
And when your character has exactly one life, this is not particularly inspiring of trust. This is why I don't put the entirety of the blame on Thor, because Thor's like, well, fuck this. But I've been playing this character for a month. Like, so he leaves. But I will say
though, there is a point in the video where Thor is actually with the party sort of again, and he's telling them, look at my mana. I don't have mana to cast anything. Like, the things that you need. Blizzard, for example,
a shield on himself.
Yeah, well, obviously. But I will just say, Blizzard uses a shit ton of mana, right? So Blizzard, because it's AoE, it uses a lot of mana. So based on, I haven't played Classic in a really long time, but based on what I remember, with the amount of mana that he had left, he would not have been able to cast Blizzard.
See, but here's the situation. Here's the situation. You can downrank Blizzard, which is something that, you know, if you just play retail, you don't even remember this anymore. But back in the day, you would keep all of the levels of a spell. So you'd have level 1 Blizzard, level 2 Blizzard, level 3 Blizzard. And level 1 Blizzard costs almost no mana and still slows enemies down, because at that point, you're not trying to kill anything. And the Blizzard that he cast was max rank Blizzard, which ate through all of his mana in less than a second. So he did 1 second of Blizzard, and then he's like, I'm out of mana. Bye, guys.
But I will say, in his defense there, most people don't keep all of the spells on their bar. Right?
I think people I think he had it on a click, because he has Blizzard and then he has another Blizzard icon immediately above. So I'm assuming that would be the rank 1 Blizzard.
Maybe.
But he panicked. But the thing is, why did he panic? He panicked because somebody's on comms going like, run. Actually, don't. Yeah. No, wait, come back.
They were
it's
all
salvageable.
Panicking.
No, wait.
Everyone was panicking. Yeah.
And that's what you don't want, right? In a hardcore scenario, you don't want people going, run. No, wait, no, run. It's like the indecision is what got people killed, okay?
Yes.
Like, if I'm the priest that died, I am the most upset out of everyone in that group.
Yeah.
If I am that
priest... You
priest,
just came back to help and you got shot on.
It's like, if I am that priest, I'm like, fuck you. You should have died for me because I went back for you. And it's like, I don't even know how the priest died, because if you're peeling back, the tanks should, at the very least, if you have a priest coming back for you, that tank better be fucking sundering, better be thunderclapping, better be fucking, what's the berserker shot? I forget, the one that slows people down. He better be doing all of those goddamn things. But no, the tank just allowed the fucking healer to die. And it's like, okay. So I think how nice of you to come back and take my place in the guillotine. That was very nice.
So for those of you that then go, okay, but where exactly is the drama? This is where we get to the drama bit of it. So now there's massive discussions in Only Fangs. Everyone is fighting to the point where Soda Poppin gets involved. So this is now a big deal. Thor keeps doubling down that he did nothing wrong. There's nothing that he's going to apologize for. People, to be honest here, this is where I kind of feel like Thor acted very poorly, because all he had to do in that scenario, all people wanted from him was to apologize. Apologize for the fact that you didn't do everything correctly. Instead, he keeps going, I did everything right. I didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't my mistake. Even though it was kind of your mistake as well, right?
I mean,
you're not solely to blame.
Everybody's got a share in the blame in that situation, but in my opinion, the biggest part of the blame is the people screaming "run" and then "don't run" and then maybe run, and it's like no, it's hardcore. Okay, this is not a place for hero plays. All right, but I will also say that if I was in that situation. For starters, I wouldn't be the one playing the mage. I would be the warrior panicking in the front lines. But for starters, I wouldn't be saying a damn thing. I'd be keeping my fucking mouth shut and pressing all my goddamn buttons at the same time. But
I'd be out.
But it's like
I'd be right next to Thor.
But it's like the thing to me is also he did look back once, but he never looked back again. And it's like after you cross that second corner, you are perfectly safe. You could have looked back and see, okay, let's weigh our options. Because here's the other thing. Because again, I've been watching videos of this yesterday. Thor had a mana gem, a robe that gives him mana back, and I'm assuming somewhere in his bags, a mana potion. He used 0 of these things. None of them.
But that's where I say I blame him for a lot of the drama that followed. Not for what happened in the dungeon, but he did not play that perfectly.
Of course not.
Anyone that has played Mage ever knows that he didn't play that perfectly. Now, he did come out afterwards and say, look, guys, I never said I'm a god gamer. I never said that I'm the greatest gamer in the world. But pinning this on me, that's just nonsense. And it's like, well, actually, the drama really happened because for a while, you refused 100% to take any responsibility for anything. You were like, no, I played everything perfectly. So you were claiming that you were absolute god gamer level. And you obviously were not, right? So you should have just sort of buried your ego and been like, guys, sorry, I panicked. There was someone screaming, run, 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 run. I just ran and I didn't even think about mana gems or anything. I'm sorry. And people would probably, because look, when you play classic hardcore, you kind of expect to die. That's just the nature of it. You're going to die. If you apologize and you say, guys, sorry, most of them will just go, well, fine, I'll start playing again. Because remember, these are all streamers.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether they're leveling or whether they're doing dungeons at max level, that is content they're going to be benefiting from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the biggest issue. And then Soda Poppin, after a lot of sort of debate and back and forth, Soda Poppin ultimately said, okay, fine. I think I'm making the right decision here to kick him after he's doubled down and tripled down and whatever number we are on now. Then Thor, to be fair, again, doesn't handle it all that well. Just suddenly now he starts throwing shade at OnlyFans being just a content guild and everyone's just looking for drama. And it's like, dude, you joined that guild knowing that. Like, that's not... That you can't now suddenly blame that. That's what the guild is for.
It's also important to mention that I feel that the backlash that Thor is getting right now is completely unwarranted. Because like, there's
100%.
He should be criticized for some of the stuff and some of the way that he handled. Which, by the way, I did a very quick tweet where I was just like, listen, the shot caller fucked up. That's all I care about. Whatever, I don't care. End of story. And a lot of people were pointing out, well, Thor didn't handle it all that well. And then I just went on that tweet and I replied, you know what? I'll take half of an L on this. I still think the main person to blame is whoever was screaming, run, 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 and then don't run, and then maybe run. And like that person to me is the person who got 2 people killed, 100%. But the way that Thor handled it was also not the best, and Thor could have also done a better job. So I was like, okay, I'll take half an L. That's all people wanted from him. Just take some accountability, which he didn't. But at the same time... I don't think that is grounds for like, oh, we're going to threaten to kill you and you better not come to BlizzCon 2025 and we're going to stab you, kill your family. And it's like, it's the internet. Of course that's going to happen. There's some unhinged people. I've had my fair share of people like sending me threatening Twitter DMs or whatever. But, it's just completely uncalled for that type of behavior. It's stupid. It's a video game. Like, who cares? Yeah. I mean,
no,
I guess the people dying
care
because they lost a month of their lives. So
yeah, I think so. My personal opinion is, if you're a viewer of any of the streamers involved, why are you getting upset? It's not your character. Your streamer is still there.
Content.
You didn't kill him IRL.
Yeah, you should be happy. It's content. It's fantastic.
You should not be sending death threats to people. And I get so much worse because they were also emailing Twitch, trying to get him banned off Twitch. And it's just like, dudes,
yeah,
it is a video game.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like, holy shit. This isn't IRL. It's not like Thor burnt down their house. He didn't start the Cali fires or some shit like that. Calm down. Like, holy crap. That's the most unhinged part of this whole drama thing for me, is just this. It's nuts, actually. But that's the story, right? That's where we are now. I feel like with the way OnlyFans goes anyways, there will be a new controversy happening within the next week that'll start, and most people won't even care about it because I don't know if it's a sustainable business model, because fundamentally I think viewers will eventually get tired of just the content farm that happens in OnlyFans, but for now, people are back at it, and
so here's
probably already starting
Here's
again.
Something that also happened that kind of like started showing up in my feed because I was consuming all this Piratesoftware Drama content.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that Tyler 1 had a duel with Soda Poppin for the leadership of OnlyFans?
Oh, wait. They decided it by Duel.
Yes. It was supposed to be. It's kind of like a mock Gora, except it's not to the death. But so I wasn't even aware of this, but suddenly I started noticing, wait, what? Tyler 1 versus Soda Poppin'? So I watched Quinn69 commenting over that, which was, let me tell you something, okay? You remember how disappointed we were with Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul?
Yes.
This was so much better. This was fantastic. This was everything I could have wanted from Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. So for people that don't know, right, Tyler 1 is a League of Legends player. So he's not actually a World of Warcraft player. He's a bit of a noob when it comes to World of Warcraft. Soda Poppin' is like World of Warcraft is his bread and butter. He's one of the better players.
He's one of the OG creators in WoW.
Exactly. Now, here's where things get interesting, because it was decided by Duel, but anybody who knows Soda Poppin' would know what's his main class. What's Soda Poppin's main class?
Druid.
He's a druid. But in the Duel, he's playing a warrior.
Oh, wow.
Because Tyler 1 is also a warrior. So it's a 1v1, warrior versus warrior. It is what it is. And what happens is Soda Poppin' is just like trash talking, straight up, no stop. And Soda Poppin' wins like 3 rounds.
Okay.
And then Tyler 1 starts winning a couple of rounds. And then eventually they tie it up at 4. I don't know exactly what were the rules or anything like that, but it was really exciting seeing it, okay? Because you know, I have nostalgia for World of Warcraft, so seeing like 2 warriors go at it, I'm like, oh, let's fucking go. And so eventually you get to the 8th round, I guess, which they tied at 4-4. And apparently, if that happened, they had to do a boxing round, which is no weapons. So it's just warriors punching each other. And Tyler 1 wins because he's able to catch Soda with a fear, and Soda either didn't have Berserker Rage or wasn't in Berserker stance. I forget which one. And so he catches Soda with a fear and bandages.
Oh no!
He catches Soda with intimidating shout, and then he bandages, and then he clutches, and he wins, and now Tyler 1 is the leader of OnlyFans. Which I was like, that's fucking amazing, dude.
I mean, they're probably gonna do it again at some point. You know, because it is what it is. But yeah, that's the drama.
But that one's not drama, right? Tyler 1 versus...
No, that's just funny.
That was just fun. I love that one. That was amazing. But yeah.
It's sort of like, this is what content guilds generally are. Some of the content is really good that comes out of it, and some of it's just super cringe. So you sort of take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
But all right, so on to the next story. Now, I'm going to again allow you to explain this because I have a pretty hot take, and I will give my take when you have explained it as you see it.
Okay, so as we all know, Elon Musk was recently caught using a boosted character in Path of Exile 2. By the way,
which he contests, from what I understand.
Yeah. He contests that. But, let me just say it to everybody who is a big fan of Elon Musk, which, by the way, I also like a lot of the stuff that Musk does. I know that that's probably going to get me canceled by a bunch of people or whatever. But it's I think that the objective of taking humanity to Mars is something that I'm glad somebody's trying to fucking get us there. I would love for us to become a spacefaring civilization. That'd be fantastic. But, anyway, the whole point of him doing like a boosted character, I just want people to understand, this isn't actually something that you can contest. Like, this is a fact. The way in which he was playing that character, the mistakes that he was making and all of that shit, these are things that nobody that reaches level 97 on hardcore is doing, okay? This is just, that doesn't happen. So, yes, he did boost his character 100%. I have no doubts there. So, he's caught boosting his character. Quinn makes a video about it. Kriparian reacts to it, and obviously Asmongold reacts to it as well. Everybody making fun of Elon trying to play his boosted character because he has no idea what he's doing and all of that stuff. Everybody's having a good old time making fun of him. And so eventually Asmongold takes it a little bit further and he throws down a gauntlet and he says, if Elon Musk can prove that that's his character, I will stream on X exclusively for 1 year. And I don't know if he said exclusively, but he said that he was going to stream on X for a full year.
He didn't say exclusively. He just said he will stream on X.
He will stream on X for a full year. And so he throws down that gauntlet. And then eventually, I forget exactly why, but in a thread where people are arguing about Elon's character getting boosted and whatnot, Elon starts going after Asmongold, which is like, that's a bad idea, especially after his performance with his character. That's a terrible idea. But Elon starts leaking DMs with Asmongold, which, by the way, that's a big no-no in the internet. If you really don't want to be leaking DMs unless, the other person's doing like some unhinged shit, like, you're talking like CP, something like that, and unless the other person's doing like some serious fucked up shit, you never leak DMs without it being consensual because it's just fucked up. It's the same thing as me confiding something very sensitive to Akalon and Akalon just turning around and it's like, hey guys, here's what Rukan
video time.
Exactly. So it's like, it's just something that you don't do online. But, he goes in and he leaks a DM, and this is I don't use the word cringe all that often because I think people grossly, it's kind of like the word literally, way too many people use it. But this was some of the cringiest shit I've ever seen, which is there's an exchange of messages between Elon Musk and Asmongold, wherein Asmongold says, I'll talk to my editors about the potential of making a new account, the stream on X and all of this stuff. And then we'll see. And he's like, I didn't know. Who are these mysterious editors? And he says the name of the editors, which is Cat Danny and some other guy called the Asmongold. I knew about Cat Danny. I don't know about any of the other ones. I know about Cat Danny because of the catchy song that he has. The catchy song that he does with Asmongold. So, he says these editors. And then Elon Musk assumes that by editors, he's talking like traditional publication editors, which are people that are above you in a hierarchy, which get to dictate the content that you make, which is clearly not the same thing as a video editor for a streamer. Which I guess Asmongold assumed a little bit too much about Elon's understanding of live streaming because Elon is live streaming on X. So you would assume that he would know what an editor is. But obviously he doesn't, and so he's like, Asmongold's not his own man. He works for other people. He works for these mysterious editors, and here's the proof on this leaked DM. And Asmongold's just memeing because obviously Asmongold doesn't give a fuck. Probably,
Yeah.
I doubt that you can find that many compromising, messages leaked from Asmongold because he just assumes that everything's going to get leaked anyway. Like even during that Mizkif drama where he was in like a call that was supposed to be private with train wrecks and all of that shit. That whole thing got leaked, and nothing in there could pin literally anything on Asmongold because he just expects any interaction that happens online to be leaked. So,
but he's also the kind of guy that just doesn't care, right? Like he doesn't really care about what people think or know about
the leaks. Yeah, so he doesn't care about the leaks. But, obviously this generates a bunch of drama, but the whole point is there's also another thing that happened after this little interaction, which is Elon Musk went and removed Asmongold's verified checkmark. And apparently there's another special checkmark now that is being added to people. I didn't even know about this, but it's a special, like a gamepad sign or whatever, that's like a gaming tag. So both of those, Asmongold goes to bed, he has both of those tags in his name. Asmongold wakes up, he has none of those tags in his name. A little bit later, the verified checkmark comes back, and then a little bit later, the gaming tag comes back, and then a little bit later, both of them go away, and then a little bit later, just the verified check comes back. It's like...
So...
It's like the pettiest shit I've seen in my life.
But on the verified checkmark, I should just mention, Asmongold did change his profile picture. And that happened yesterday or the day before yesterday. He went back to his sort of official profile picture that he used to have for a long time. And then he changed it to that other face of him in a white shirt. And then he went back again to the official one.
Asmongold didn't say anything about changing his profile picture in his video. I watched this video last night. Yeah.
From everyone that spoke about it, right? Now, I know he had a different profile picture. I don't know if it could be... I just assumed that's how this happened. Because if you change your profile picture... Not many people know this, but if you change your profile picture,
I know
you
about
lose... You lose the verification badge
I'm
immediately.
a blue check mark now. You guys have no idea. I made $17 last month. I made $17 off of Twitter, bro.
It could be that, but my take is actually a lot more, let's say, maybe like a bit more spicy.
Okay.
I think all of this is staged. Everything.
Huh.
They're drumming up controversy for Asmongold's first ever X-Stream. This is why all of this is happening. None of this is real. This is a complete manufactured beef. That's my take on it. And the only reason is it's in the playbook. It's in the playbook. That's how a lot of these streamers do it. That's how a lot of content creators made names for themselves, is driving drama.
Has Asmongold ever faked a beef?
Faked the beef? No, probably not. But Asmongold has benefited greatly from drama.
100%, yes.
Right? So he'll cause drama, and it should be mentioned, Asmongold is a bit of a troll. He likes trolling people.
100%, yeah.
And this is just trolling. And Elon is a massive troll as well. Like, he loves saying shit and then just watching everyone have a meltdown.
I kind of feel like Asmon will take a credibility hit from doing something like that. I think he would definitely take a big credibility hit from pulling a stunt like that. So I don't know. Because like he already made like a video talking about all this. So that would mean that this 50-minute video that he uploaded last night would just be a flat out lie. That's kind of like no, I mean, it doesn't depend. It would be a flat out lie because he didn't say anything about this being staged or anything like that.
The reason I say it depends is if you come out and you make it clear, hey guys, this was a joke, we were doing it on purpose, and you make fun of it, most viewers wouldn't give a crap. If it comes out, so you don't admit it, someone else comes forward and says they were having you, this was all a big lie, that's when I think your credibility takes a hit. But if people realize that they've just been successfully trolled, most people will just be like, "Oh shit, all right, yeah, good job, you got me." But you have to be the one to reveal that. You have to be the one to come out and say, "All right, guys, listen."
You're trying to burn him, is what you're saying. You're like, I'm gonna
burn
basically.
No, I'm actually not trying to go off of after Asmon, and this is literally just my speculation on it, because the drama seems so stupid.
It does seem.
It seems so petty and stupid that.
But then again,
I don't.
It's like. It's also petty and stupid for Elon to think that anybody actually cares whether or not he's able to level a character up to level 97 in hardcore in Path of Exile 2. Nobody cares. I think people would actually be happier if he was just like playing the game regularly, and just being like, "Hey guys, I tried doing this thing and whatnot." Like, I remember back in the Elden Ring days, everybody flamed him for his build, and I was like, Why you gotta flame the guy for his build? Like, who cares? Like, he's playing Elden Ring. Be the same thing as me flaming you when you were like putting points haphazardly through your fucking character and like messing up as you were trying to discover the game. It's like, who cares? Nobody cares. Yeah. And I don't know if maybe he took that one a little bit too personal. It's like, oh, everybody memed on me. You'll see. I'll get somebody to level a character up to level 97 in hardcore. You'll fucking see. And it's like, that's stupid. I mean, you're a billionaire, dude. Like, what are you doing?
I will just say so my trolling accusation actually started more with Elon being the trollier. And because Asmongold hasn't really done much outside of, I think he tweeted about it once, maybe twice, and then he made the video yesterday of the situation. But Elon has been milking this. Like, he's been tweeting at Storm, replying to people on the tweet. So even if it is an Asmon trolling, I can almost see a world in which Elon is
doing it to Elon is the one playing 5D chess.
Yeah, he's just sort of having fun because he knows Asmon will eventually stream on X.
Listen,
and he's just sort of drumming up, because fundamentally for Elon, it is good, right? If Asmon starts streaming on X, that is a massive W. Asmon has over 1 million followers on X.
But why
that'll be a giant stream.
Why would Asmon stream on X if Elon is shitting all over him? If anything, like my inclination would be the exact opposite. It's like, well, if Elon is shitting on me, I definitely don't want to stream on X. Like, what the fuck?
Well, it depends on what Elon offers Asmon. And if Elon comes out and says, "Hey, I was literally just memeing, having fun at your expense," it was done. And Asmon has from what I know of Asmon, he has a pretty good sense of humor. Like, if Elon came out and said,
he doesn't care.
Dude, I was just joking. Then Asmon would just be like, "Oh, well, okay, cool, no worries." So I think Elon probably knows this. Oh, that's my speculation, at least.
Your speculation is that it's an Elon 5D chess plan to...
Yeah.
Okay.
But the only reason I'm saying this isn't to defend Elon, because I do think there is a world, if I'm going to be very honest and remove the speculation, I do think there is a world where Elon desperately wanted to be down with the kids. And he realized, well, you can't really be a billionaire and be down with the kids.
How do you do, fellow exiles?
Yeah, we're playing video games because we are not billionaires, right? Like, even if you do play video games, you're not going to be like us, ever.
Yeah.
And so there is a world where his ego got hurt and now he's sort of lashing out. So I fully respect that. So I'm not trying to defend Elon here by saying he's trolling or whatever. I'm just trying to make sense of the absolute stupidity of the situation.
Yeah.
Because this is, again, like the Piratesoftware stuff. And actually, the Piratesoftware stuff has more legitimacy than this bullshit, where I'm just like going, what is this beef? Like, why is this a thing? Like, what's happening here? This is a billionaire. This is a man that builds rockets for a living.
Care about Asmongold? What the fuck?
This is a dude that builds rockets that goes to Mars, tweeting about some random fucking streamer. It's like, why? I don't understand.
But the best part is like, why is he so upset at Asmon? You'd expect him to be upset at Quinn. Yeah. Quinn's the one making the videos.
Yeah,
Quinn's the
but
one
he said nothing about
the shit out of Elon, dude.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know.
Just yesterday, I saw a tweet from Kriparian saying, we got to go farm Elon to pay the vet bills for my dog. So even Kriparian is going to be farming Elon, dude. Elon's about to become streamer farmed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. It's weird to me. This whole situation is weird to me. That's why I'm just sort of speculating that must be a troll. This must be some, and it is in keeping with Elon's personality. If you've ever watched any of his interviews, I find it usually very cringe to watch because, and I don't want to sort of say stuff out of turn because I'm obviously not a qualified physician or psychiatrist, but I do think he suffers from autism based on how he communicates. Like Elon will sit in an interview and then he'll make jokes that no one laughs at, but he cracks himself. Like he thinks this is the funniest thing he's ever said in his life. And I genuinely think...
Again, I'm also not a registered psychiatrist, amazingly enough. You know, I know that I'm a genius, but psychiatry is not among my fields.
It's not one of them.
But I will just say that there is some type of like social barrier there. So I don't know if it's autism or whatever, but there's definitely some type of social barrier there where...
Yeah, there's some asocial behavior with Elon. And it could be that from Elon's perspective, this is one hell of a joke. But no one else really gets the joke. Like every other interviewer in every interview ever doesn't get his jokes.
It's like... So you think behind the scenes is like, oh man, this is so funny.
Yeah. No one else is laughing, but Elon is going, he's having the time of his life.
or maybe it's actually the other way around where it's like, these fucking guys.
It is possible,
one
right?
Or the other, right?
But if he really is angry and he's doing this out of anger, he could not have chosen a worse person to try and beef with.
Oh, yeah.
Asmon doesn't give a shit. Like, Asmon has never cared about anything.
Like, the thing is, Asmon is the epitome of the I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got nothing to lose.
Asmon couldn't care less. He's like, well, whatever, you know. He just goes live and he streams. He couldn't care less about any of this nonsense.
He's got literally nothing to lose. It's like,
yeah.
What's gonna happen?
No, I mean, it's funny to me, but at the end of the day, that's the end of the drama segment. Now we get into actual gaming news.
So let me just rattle off something real quick since we just talked about Path of Exile 2 content, because obviously this is all over some Path of Exile 2 shenanigans. I hope that all of this drama contributes to grinding your games, getting a bunch of more people to play Path of Exile 2, because Path of Exile 2 is friggin' phenomenal. But I want to point out something very specific that I was very surprised with, and I was surprised with it this morning. So here's what happens. There was a major patch released yesterday.
Okay.
Because yesterday is kind of like Friday already in New Zealand because they're living in the future. So they said, we're going to release a major patch Friday, New Zealand time, which is a patch that, for starters, I did a whole video talking about that because it very much shows that they're in tune with the community and a lot of the things that they're adding. There's a couple of minor things here and there. It's not perfect, but it's a really good step forward for the game, right? So they implement this patch. And the build that I'm playing, which is Totem Warrior, gets gutted. And it's not even mentioned in the patch notes. It's not even mentioned. There's like nothing there. And I was just like, what the fuck? What just happened? I didn't even know. It was somebody that I know on Twitter posted something about warrior totems and them not working properly. And I was like, oh, what the hell? So I log into the game. And so here's the way that totems work. You deploy the totem, shockwave totem specifically. You deploy the totem and the totem just does AoE explosions. That's it. It does AoE explosions for about 12 seconds and then it disappears.
Okay.
And so this is the way that I was working. You'd do the totem, it'd be there, like, and that was gone. Now, with the new patch, what ended up happening was you would deploy the totem and it would not attack unless enemies were in range, which is worse because unless it has like perfect detection, sometimes enemies would run through and they wouldn't even trigger. But the worst part of it was that the detection of enemies was actually so bad that sometimes you would have enemies literally pushing the totems around and the totems wouldn't attack back. So it basically it's like build ruined. So I log in late last night when the patch is done and I was like, oh, God damn it, my build, it's gone, it's over. I'm like all sad. I post on Twitter, well, rip Totem Warrior, it's gone forever. Goodbye. Tomorrow we'll come up with a different build, guys, whatever. So I go to bed, wake up today, and I log in because I'm, while I was waiting for you to get ready and stuff, I was like, okay, let me just see what build I'm going to transition into, what I'm going to do. And I go and I just test the totems one last time. They're working fine. So they fixed it super fast. And to me, it's this surprising because on a game like Diablo, for instance, oh yeah, you have to wait until like the next patch 2 months from now. Sorry, that build's dead.
If ever.
Yeah, if ever. If we even bother fixing it, we might just leave it as is because we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's
works as intended.
I've seen so many games where they break something with a patch and they're like, yeah, we'll address it on the next big patch. And these guys are like, oh shit, there wasn't even a patch, I don't think. I think it was just like, a server side update or something. Boom.
Yeah.
Totems are working completely fixed. And I was like, yes. So I was surprised at how fast they fix it. Like that team is on a different level.
Dude, but I do think there's more and more we are seeing these studios, and we are probably jumping a little bit here in terms of topics, but that's fine. We are seeing studios that are coming out that is a lot more gaming forward, right? That is putting the gamers first, putting gameplay first.
Yeah.
And I think Triple G 100% in the lead here when it comes to actually making a game that doesn't include unnecessary political BS, that is just a fun game, play it, have the time of your life, who cares, right? That's all we're interested in making. We're not interested in preaching or providing social commentary. You don't have a boss that looks exactly like Donald Trump in the game. It's just a video game. You get to play it. So that's really good. But then you have other studios that are doing the exact same thing. So I know you played this game. I have not yet played this game. It's Lords of the Fallen.
Yes.
So Lords of the Fallen, what did you think of Lords of the Fallen, by the way?
So I really liked a lot of things about Lords of the Fallen. The one thing that I didn't like is Unreal Engine 5, because the game ran like absolute garbage. As a matter of fact, I always like telling this story how the devs were looking for creators to like play the game on their Steam page. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll play the game on your Steam page. So I boot up the game, and in the first 5 minutes, I crashed the game on the official Steam page. I was like, oh no! Fuck! This sucks. I warned them, though. I warned them. I was like, listen, I'll do it, but I should warn you, like, this game's been crashing on me a lot. And they're like, oh, it's fine. So I boot up the game. I get to a boss. Game instantly crashes. I was like, well, we're not going there next. I have to go to some other area. That's for sure. but it's like, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that they did, because they do things that reminded me a little bit of Soul Reaver. I don't know if you played the original Soul Reaver, where you had like the shifting of worlds, and then how when you would shift worlds, areas that would have water wouldn't be there, and then you could go down there and explore more. They did that exact same thing. That was fun. There was some cool builds, but even one of the coolest things that I've seen in that game was the way that they handled co-op, because very few Souls-likes will do proper co-op that you can just get together with somebody and play until you both are tired. Usually it's like Elden Ring type of co-op, wherein you co-op, you do a boss, and then each of you go back to your own worlds, right? In that game, I actually got a friend of mine, and we played the game together like multiple times, and we'd go through and do New Game Plus and do the whole thing, and it was a ton of fun. Like, we had a blast playing that game. So I enjoyed the game greatly, yes.
Yeah. So CI Games, who is the studio behind Lords of the Fallen, they've also done things like Sniper Ghost 1, 2, 3, Enemy Front, Dogfight, Alien Rage. So pretty established studio. They came out in an investor call and basically said to investors, we are not interested in pushing any politics in our video games ever. We're going to be focused on gameplay, gamers first, no political messaging whatsoever. So that was their promise to investors. Now, there's some sort of ambiguity as to why they made that promise to investors, and some people are suggesting this was an investor question that was posed. So investors were a little worried.
I think one of the investor asked about that, yes.
Yeah. So there's apparently investors are starting to get worried when studios want to start pushing politics because they can obviously see that it's not going super well. And they said no. Since then, they have gone sort of all out anti-woke, like super anti-politics in video games. And we'll get to the anti-woke thing in a second because I have a pretty hot take on that. But before we get to that, they then ran a poll after a user sort of replied to one of his tweets, the COO of CI Games. The user said, look, can you please remove type A and type B and bring back male and female? This is nonsense that we have to have the type A and type B stuff. So this director goes, okay, cool, let's do a poll. And he does a poll and he says, what would you prefer in our games? Type A, type B, male, female, none of the above, right? And ultimately 88.9% of over 40,000, the last time I checked, probably more now, voted male and female. They don't want type A and type B. Which I kind of understand. Type A and type B has never made a lot of sense. Who the hell is offended by male and female in a video game? Right? I don't understand who... I'm also not offended at type A and type B, just to be clear. Like, I don't give a shit about it, but it is sort of that same thing as pronouns. It's like, who's really offended by this? Like, who actually gives a crap about this stuff? So they're now actually changing that back. They also then announced that they are removing diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring on their hiring page as well as process, and instead replacing it with merit-based hiring. So they will now only hire based on who is good, regardless of race or gender, or none of that shit matters. Are you good? Can you do the job? End of discussion. You then had Tim Sweeney from Epic Games chime in on this entire thing, basically saying the same thing. You should be hiring people based on their qualifications, based on how good they are. Actually, not based on qualifications. Sorry. Tim Sweeney comes out and says, it doesn't matter what someone has behind their name, because someone might be good at, say, for example, making Dragon Age combat. That just means that they're good at making Dragon Age combat. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're good at doing combat. You should hire people with exceptional skill. That's what you should be looking for. So you shouldn't worry about, do they have a university degree? Do they have 15 years experience in the industry? None of that shit matters. If they know what they're doing and they're an expert at what they're doing, that's the person that you want to be working with, because that's the person who's going to make your game better. Then you have Moon Game, or Moon Studio CEO.
Okay, yeah.
Also, super anti-woke.
But that guy's been he's been like that before. It was because like now it almost feels like it's popular to be gig anti-woke, and a lot of people a lot of people are feeling empowered coming out against that type of stuff and whatnot. So you know, the guy that you're talking about from Moon Studios, he's been like that pretty much from the get-go.
Yeah, from the beginning.
He's always said that, like, we don't want to be hiring based on that. We hire based on merit, blah, 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 blah. Which, by the way, my stance on that, this is something that I've said since the beginning, which is, yes, you should hire based on merit. People that are working in video games, you should hire them based exclusively on merit. It is that simple. If the person who is the best at making the story is black, that's the person you should hire. If they're Asian, that's the person you should hire. If they're trans, that's the person you should hire. You should not look at their inherent, you know, whatever sexuality that they have or they identify with or whatever. You look at what their merit is. That's always been the way that I've looked at it. And that is the way that you should be hiring. That is the only fair way to hire. because anything other than that, I feel, is a little bit of an insult, even because, so imagine, for instance, there's an Asian person who is excellent at like doing combat calculations and balancing video games, and then there is a black person who is maybe not as good for whatever reason. I'm just picking stereotypes here blatantly because usually Asians tend to be better at math, so that's what I'm going for, right?
Wow, you're racist.
Yeah, okay, sure. And then they hire... And then they end up hiring the black person, and the black person's like, so wait, did I get hired because I'm the best for the job, or did I get hired, again, there's a reason why I'm not in a leadership position. Maybe I wouldn't make the better leadership decisions. I've never wanted to be in a leadership position, but I've always have the feeling that like you either hire the best person for the job or you hire somebody else out of pity. That's kind of like what it feels like, which is a sucky situation for every party involved as far as I'm concerned. So that's the way that I've always looked at it. It should be based on merit, and it's just that simple. There's no other discussion for me to be had when it comes to that stuff. In terms of the type A, type B, male and female, I've always been puzzled as to why we went the route of type A and type B, because it's like, maybe there's something that I'm missing that I don't understand, but isn't type A and type B just a different way of saying male and female?
But that's exactly the problem, right? Is why are you doing this?
I've personally never understood that. It's like, does it bother me? No, I don't care if it's type A, type B, or male or female. I would just like to understand why. Why are we replacing these well-known things, male and female, with type A and type B? Does it bother me? Not at all.
The answer,
if it makes people feel better, whatever. I don't care. It's whatever to me. But I have always in the back of my mind been, but why? I don't understand why.
Yeah, you see,
and even I think that Japanese developers even recently had like that whole thing on TikTok from the Dragon Quest guys, where they were confused. They were talking about like, we have to do these things because it's demanded to us in the West.
By the West.
And we don't understand why. It's weird.
Yeah.
But
But you see, that's the thing. The why is basically catering to a very tiny percentage of the population that if they have a problem with this, they should get over it. No one cares. You're not in the majority. Just shut the hell up. Play the video game. You did it for literally all of gaming's history. No one cares, right? So fundamentally, that is what it is. But here's my hot take. And I purposefully did not share this with Rurikon before the show went out. Because
he's ambushing me.
Yeah, I am ambushing him a little. I did tell him, though, that I am going to ambush him. So he is aware that it is coming. He just didn't know when. Rurikon is anti-woke.
I am.
And so too is, I would say, 95% of everyone listening to this podcast. And here's why. What does it mean to be anti-woke? What is anti-woke? Now, the problem with most people is they look at individual people that are anti-woke and go, that must be anti-woke. Not realizing that anti-woke is a massive taint. It's not just a single person or a single movement. What it is you have black people, white people, gay people, trans people, straight people. You have people from every walk of life. I know because I meet them. They DM me. We talk. Every walk of life in this taint. What it is isn't people that are against diversity. It's not people, equity no one cares about because it's nonsense. Everyone knows equity is nonsense. And I used this example yesterday. I'll use it again. Equity would be you work in a factory canning fish. You arrive every single day at 8 o'clock. You leave at 5 o'clock. You're diligent. You can 5,000 cans of fish a day. You get paid $1,000 for that. The guy working next to you arrives whenever the hell, goes home whenever the hell, and only cans 200 cans of fish, but also gets paid $1,000 a day. That is equity, and every human being would go, that's not fair. Like, I should be paid more because, this guy should at least be paid less because clearly I'm doing most of the work here. Equity is the same outcome regardless of input, right? No one believes that. But diversity and inclusion isn't the problem for the people in the anti-woke taint. It's the politicization of diversity and inclusion that is the problem. It's when you start shoehorn. Yeah?
The way that I've always said, and the position that I've always held, is that I don't like when it feels forced and when it is tokenizing people. That's what I don't
That makes you, but you see, that's the thing. That makes you anti-woke. You're in the taint. Now,
I mean, like I've said, people always try to label me one way or the other, and I'm just like, I'm just me. I'm not in this side. I'm not in that side. I'm me.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to explain to you. The anti-woke taint. Remember, anti-woke started as an insult.
You're saying
it wasn't started
just
by
a second.
us.
You're saying anti-woke tent. What is this word you're using? It's very
taint. So the idea is. Yeah, taint. So it's a big taint that a lot of different groups. Like like a marquee taint.
That you take to the woods to camping.
Think more marquee. So people will put up these marquee taints that they get married in, or that they have like these giant functions in. Marquee taints. Have you ever seen them? Like super large.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just not used to seeing that to like. Then you usually designate a group of people. It's like it's a tent. It's like a tent. It's so weird.
The reason you use tent is because it is a temporary structure that houses a bunch of different people from different areas, right? So
I just want to make sure that everybody understood it, because I was getting a little bit confused.
The thing is, anti-gamer or anti-woke is a term that originally started as a slur. To sort of talk about all the racist, bigoted gamers that don't want diversity and equity and inclusion in their video games. But fundamentally, all it actually is normal people that don't want to be preached to all the time when they're playing video games, that don't want all of their games to turn into Dustborn. They don't want all of their games to turn into Dragon Age the Veilguard with the atrocious writing, because you constantly have to insert political sort of sentiment within your game. Now, where you are in the anti-woke taint, so where you sit, that is up for discussion. You get, for example, people who are very much in the anti-woke camp insofar as they don't want politics in their games, but they're also not going to make too much of a noise as long as it's not overbearing, right? So they'll complain about something like Dragon Age the Veilguard, but they won't necessarily complain about something like Baldur's Gate 3, right? They won't even find problems with Baldur's Gate 3. Then you have people who's maybe a little bit further into the taint that sort of complain about Dragon Age the Veilguard, can recognize that there are woke elements in Baldur's Gate 3, but it's handled so well and so respectfully that it can be acceptable because it is part of life. Then you also, yes, absolutely have people in the taint that are super sensitive to this stuff, and they want none of it. They don't want anything like Baldur's Gate 3. They don't want anything like Dragon Age the Veilguard. They want to return to the good old days of video games, even though no one has been able to explain to me what these good old days mean, because all games have been diverse pretty much always.
I have to make this question. Where exactly do the unhinged dudes who are making these crazy fucking lists that are putting like Elden Ring as a giga-woke game, and the description is because it has women in it? Where do these people sit?
Yeah. They would be the people that are very much to the right of the taint, right? So they're sitting in the taint, and I'm happy to fight with them because we are fighting the same fight.
They're like up against the wall, like about to fucking leave the tent.
Yeah. It should also just be mentioned that...
And everybody's getting pushed along?
Well, not really. That's the whole point, right? So I, for example, try to always be very structured and principled in my arguments, right? And I try to build bridges between all of the different groups to ensure that we don't allow the very, very far right guys to pull the taint all the way to the other side of the rugby field, right? Yeah. To keep the taint in the center where everyone can sort of find their place. But the taint is, I would say, 99% of pretty much all gamers. Because no gamers want to be preached to. So it's just a case of where do you fall within this taint. But then there's also, just to answer your question, like Cabrutus and them that make lists, for example, saying it's woke because there's women in it. there are also times where there's just
is
mistakes.
Not the one. He's not the one making. No. He's making one of the lists. I haven't checked on the Cabrutus list on quite some time. But like I was talking about somebody else, because there are some people that are making these really unhinged lists where it's like literally anything. It's like there's a woman in the game. Fuck that. It gets a little bit weird.
No, I fully agree with you, right? But even that is sort of like sometimes mistakes are made, you know. So Cabrutus just recently, the Sweet Baby Ink Detected site removed a game, and all of the wokies went like, ha ha ha. And it's like, well, actually, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The game went on the list because there were questions asked. Then the questions were answered, and we realized, oh, this isn't woke. Remove it from the list, right? So that's how you're supposed to act about it.
Here's the thing. I just feel like one of the things that you are doing is you're still trying to put a label on that tent, whereas the way that I look at it, it's like the tent is just full of gamers.
Yeah.
That's it.
But that's exactly
it.
Remember
just
the
full
label.
Of gamers and there's bad apples in there. That's it.
You see, but this is the thing. The label was placed on us. We were not the one. We were just gamers that didn't want politics in our video games.
The fact
we have embraced the labels since because it does describe us to some extent. The question is just, where in the tent do you sit? What do you want? And you, for example, saying you do think that you should hire based on merit. You don't want political preaching in your games, does mean you sit in the gamer tent with the rest of the chuds.
I've always said I am a gamer. Like, you know, when people come out and they start going like the gamers TM, I've always said I take issue with that because, like I said, every community has bad apples. It doesn't matter where you go. There's no such thing as a community that doesn't have bad apples. It doesn't happen. Like, and people can say, actually, I'm part of this community of 2 people and there's no bad apples there. And then they come to find out that their friend is actually a scumbag later or whatever. But, you know, the part of the matter is whenever you embrace a community of people, you're going to be dealing with some bad apples in the midst of that.
Of course.
And so it's like, I've always taken issue with this idea that like, oh, we don't get like gamers or gamers are evil, gamers are bad. And I always like to bring up the MatPat video where he talks about just all of the fantastic things that gamers have done over the years and the causes that we've contributed to and all of that stuff, right? And it just sucks because for some strange reason, some people want to come to war with the gamers, and it's fucking dumb. But at the end of the day, I don't think that there's a label that you can put on people. I think every person is an individual, and they allow themselves to be more influenced by one side of the culture war or the other. And it is what it is. So from your definition of whatever woke is, you look at me and you see somebody that is anti-woke. That is perfectly valid from your point of view. And from somebody else, they might look at me and they might see somebody who is woke because of the fact that I look at a video game like Veilguard, and what I said was, I think that less than 5% of this game is about woke bullshit. I just think that the rest of the game is just a bunch of other bullshit that doesn't matter anyway. So it's like, from the point of those people, they might be like, yeah, see, Rurkan, he's a wokey. He says that only 5% of Dragon Age Veilguard is woke. But the thing is, from my point of view, yeah, it was 5%. Like the whole Barv scene and every interaction that you have with, what's her face? Tash. Every interaction that you have with Tash ends up being, I don't know. I mean, I said 5%, might be 5%, might be 8%, but not all of the Tash interactions are about their gender, so whatever. But, you know, that's the point that I'm making, right? I look at things kind of objectively, and even though I have my own biases and stuff, but I look at stuff and I judge everything individually. That's the way that I'm always going to look at it. If you think I'm anti-woke, then to you, maybe I am anti-woke.
No, but I think
else, I might be woke.
Yeah, but what you're missing is anti-woke isn't the label, it is the taint. The label is gamer. Right, the label is gamer. You're a gamer. I am a gamer.
I'm 100% a gamer.
Doesn't want politics shoved into your video games.
Whenever people start talking about the chuds and whatnot, they just label all gamers as chuds. I'm like, well, I guess somebody's calling me a chud as well because I'm a gamer. Whatever.
But you see, that's the point, right? This is why I said most gamers are anti-woke, because most gamers sit in that taint. It is, if you at any point in time look at a game and go, dude, did you really have to push this political agenda? Could you not just have made the game without all this political nonsense in it? Congratulations, welcome to the taint. You're a gamer now.
I think that one of the problems is whenever you start talking about political agenda, a lot of people will start to bring out the fact that, well, there's always been politics in video games. Look at Metal Gear Solid. And it's like, yes, correct. There's always been politics in video games, but these are not politics that are in the video game with the intent of bashing you over the head with a political message.
It's not trying to preach.
And that's the difference that people don't seem to want to understand.
Yeah.
It's a political intrigue. It's a political narrative that is there for the purpose of telling a story. And there might even be some type of political messaging on there, but it is not being preachy.
And remember, the politics fits within the game.
Yes.
But when you have, for example, medieval fantasy games that have non-binary characters in it, you're like, dude, there's magic in this universe. What the hell are we talking about? Right? Or you have Khadgar sitting in a purple wheelchair after being in an accident, and you're like,
I haven't seen that one.
You can heal people and bring them back to life in this video game. How in the world is this guy sitting in a purple magical wheelchair?
Khadgar's in a wheelchair?
He's in a purple magical wheelchair, bro. And you just go, this is so obviously political. Like, you so obviously made an inclusion choice here that doesn't even fit in the universe. Yeah.
Oh, I
didn't know. Dude, he's in a wheelchair.
I thought Chris Metzen was back. What the fuck is Khadgar doing in a wheelchair?
Trust me, dude. The first time I saw it, I lost my mind. I was like, what are we doing?
I'm just gonna put it out there, okay? And maybe a lot of people will disagree with me, but I'm just gonna put this one out there. If I ever were to become paralyzed and have to use a wheelchair, the last thing that I would want to see in a video game is a fucking wheelchair reminding me of the problems that I already have in real life. That's literally the last thing. Hell, I want my character to be giga fast so that I don't have to like feel the way that I would feel in real life. Like it's the same thing as like, listen, when I was young, like I'm still fat now. I'm a fat guy, straight up. And I've been told by Americans, like, you're not that fat. And it's like, okay, look, by American standards, I get it. Maybe not that fat.
I'm fat by American standards.
But it's like, but the point is like when I was younger, I was much worse. Guess what? The last thing I would want is to be represented in a video game by being fucking fat. I want to look like fucking Conan, dude. I want to be ripped. I want to be fucking shredded. Okay? Either that or a dwarf. If I'm a dwarf, then yes, I do want to be fat because fat dwarves are cool. But it can't just be fat. It has to be fat and bulky and fucking ripped and shredded like fucking Conan, dude. Like a condensed Conan, all right? A wide Conan.
A wider Conan.
But you get the point, right? It's like, I don't want the same thing. Look, I wear glasses. Guess what? I don't want my character in my video game to have problems with his eyesight. I don't want to have a fucking debuff when I'm playing a first-person shooter. Like,
but imagine a game like
look at the immersion. I look at the screen and everything's fucking blurry, bro. I'm so immersed. It's like, no, I don't want it. Oh, God, I can't.
But that is exactly it, right? And this is why I say that is so clearly... Yeah, but that is so clearly a politicized choice. You made a choice to include because you don't understand what inclusion actually means. I do a lot of research and I read a lot of research papers every single day for my other channel, right? And one of the papers I recently made a video on is just a shit ton of papers done on representation. What does it actually mean to be represented? And what every single study find is that representation isn't surface level. It's not have a black character, now suddenly all black people are represented. Because people don't think of themselves in only that one way. A black person doesn't walk around every single day going, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. That's not how it works, right? So they actually find that you can have a character that doesn't look at all like the person that's playing the character, but if the character has similar personality traits to the person that's playing it, they feel represented in the game. because they can identify with the personality traits of this character, right? So representation is so much more than just surface level nonsense like a wheelchaired character in the game. The person playing in a wheelchair does not feel represented by this mage that could be brought back to life through magic, sitting in a magical wheelchair. Like, that's just nonsense. So that's what most gamers are against.
You know what this reminds me of? You ever seen The Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Oh, what a movie, dude.
Every time he made a mistake, the girl would just be like, well, time to reset. That's what you got to do to Khadgar. Well, time to reset, Khadgar. We're putting you down, taking you out back. We're going to give you the old Yeller special, and then we're going to bring you back to life. Don't even worry about it. It'll be fine.
Oh, but man, I should watch Age of Tomorrow again. That is such a cool movie.
It is a really
Holy
good movie.
crap.
Yeah,
but I have to say, all Tom Cruise movies are good. Like, that dude doesn't make bad movies. He's just like the boss when it comes to movies.
I think one of the best movies that I've seen in recent memory is Top Gun Maverick.
Oh yeah, that was
It was one of the few times that I got to go to the theater and I didn't come out of it completely fucking disappointed. It's also important to say I don't go to the theater that often, so it is what it is.
I had so much fun with Tom Cruise's Maverick, Top Gun's Maverick, or Tom Cruise's Top Gun Maverick.
It's so good, dude.
Because it truly is just like 2 hours of full-blown testosterone. Just like high speed, screw things up, blow shit up, let's go, right? There's no thinking involved. You don't have to dissect the story. It's just fast planes and boys being boys. It was so much fun. So yeah, I'm 100% with that, but I think I wanted to make this point because I think there's a lot of misconception about what anti-woke means.
The one thing that I would say is that I don't agree with the label that you're giving it, but I feel like I agree with the overall message, which fundamentally what your message is one of the things that I've been saying all along, which is all of us that play video games, we have way more in common with each other than we have against each other. And the whole reason why there's a culture war is because a lot of these corporations want us divided so that they can more effectively milk us out of our money. That's what's happening. And this is why I always look, you want to be super against, pronouns and all that stuff. That's cool. Just don't scream obscenities in my chat. Just don't try to antagonize people in my chat. Same thing for the other side. You want to be super, pro-LGBT and all of these things. That's cool. Just don't scream obscenities at anybody in my chat and we can all hang out, have a good time. Because like I said, at the end of the day, all we want is good-ass video games. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what everybody wants. Now, we can disagree sometimes. Some people like this game more than the other. It is what it is. But, it's just one of those things.
There's space in the tank for everyone as long as they're not people who want to put political messaging first. Like, if your whole thing is, no. If a game is coming out, it has to have equal number of black people, equal number of women, equal number of men. If those tick boxes are important to you, you're not welcome. We don't want you because what we want are stories that's authentic. Like, you look at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Actually, a good time to probably quickly talk about that. You look at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and a black king with a bunch of black townfolk in Kingdom Come Deliverance wouldn't make any sense.
Because it's supposed to be about Eastern Europe, right?
Yeah, the whole point is this is in Eastern Europe during the Dark Ages, like the Middle Ages. Black people where? Like, where would these people have come from? And it's Eastern Europe. So it's not even Western Europe that we're sort of traveling and by boat sort of figuring out trade routes. This is like Eastern Europe, a place that was historically very closed off for most of its history, right? So obviously there it wouldn't make sense. But even then, there's a lot of diversity in Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's just not the diversity that most people think about, because most people don't think that you have a German, a Spaniard, a Portuguese guy, and an Italian guy in a room and you have diversity, when in reality you have a shit ton of diversity in that room, because not one of those four agree
because
is the same.
We have to kill the Spaniard instantly because he's not to be trusted, and then we can all hang out.
And
I'm sure the Spaniard feels the same way about the Portuguese guy.
Yeah, probably, right? But fundamentally,
by the way, before people get crazy, I'm
we're
joking.
Gonna hate Spanish people.
I'm joking, okay? I get along just
confirmed.
Fine.
Clip it and ship it. We're gonna hate Spanish people.
Mira que yo hablo español también, vale? Huh? I can speak Spanish as well. Because and I've learned Spanish through what do you call it when you just absorb the knowledge? I forget the name. There's an expression for that. I've learned it through, I'm sure somebody in the comment section will remind me. I'm drawing a blank right now. Osmosis. I've learned Spanish through osmosis. Yes.
Okay.
By speaking with Spanish people.
Yeah, that's fine. But fundamentally, the differences in that room would be astronomical.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Portuguese people, Spanish people, German people do not share a culture. Their cultures are their histories are completely different. Languages are completely different. The Portuguese guy is going to do things his way, where the Spanish guy is going to look at that and go, I don't understand any of this. I'm doing it this way. And I mean, I'm using Spain and Portugal here because they're very close together and yet not the same.
We were at war for years, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of diversity in that game. It's just not the right type of diversity. And that's the thing that we're fighting against, this idea of
it's not the type of diversity that you can look at two people and instantly tell. That's kind of like where you're getting at.
Yeah, it's not the racist kind of diversity where we're demanding that you have XYZ people in it. But all right, so talking a little bit about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, there's some interesting developments. Now, this started yesterday as a rumor. It has since been confirmed by two separate Saudi outlets, but we still don't quite know if it's a rumor or not a rumor, because these Saudi outlets may also be lying. But effectively, it turns out Saudi Arabia...
They banned... You're going to say that they banned Kingdom Come Deliverance, Saudi Arabia?
Yeah. Kingdom Come Deliverance is banned in Saudi Arabia, apparently.
So this is the same. These are the same people that banned Final Fantasy 16 because Dion kisses the other guy. In one cutscene. Like, that's it. That's there's like one cutscene where there's a gay kiss, and that's just like, that's too much. I mean, look, I'm not here to dictate somebody else's culture, okay? It is what it is. If Saudi Arabia doesn't want to have video games where you can have homosexual relationships, I think that's their prerogative, you know? It's up to the people in their country to decide what the hell they want to do. This is absolutely none of my business. So,
see, but this is where we don't quite know if it's confirmed, if it's not confirmed. There's reports of people saying they can still buy the game even though they are in Saudi Arabia. Then there's two media outlets that claim, no, it has now officially been banned by the Saudi government, even though the Saudi government has not yet released an official statement that it has been banned, although they're saying that's not unheard of. Sometimes the government can take a while before they make these announcements. And then also the media articles don't even line up, because two of them say VG, which is not a Saudi outlet, they claim that the game is banned because of immoral scene. Right? There's one cutscene that is deemed immoral. It is unskippable. Therefore, the game is banned. The two Saudi ones, one of them also go with immoral.
But just let me just try and see if I can get this right. You said it's unskippable, so therefore it's banned. So if there's a little bit of gay sex in there, but it's skippable.
Well, no, I don't even know. So
it's like, it's just funny that the whole, it's not skippable, so therefore, but it's just funny. It's like, a little bit of gay sex is fine, so long as you can't, as you skip it, okay? If you skip it, then Allah is not going to punish you.
It's only gay if the balls touch, right? So as long as you can skip before that happens, it's all good, right? But effectively, so it's only one of the outlets that make it clear it is gay sex, right? That's the issue.
Yeah.
Now, do I actually give a crap about what Saudi Arabia does? No, like, not really. They can do whatever the hell they want, right? It doesn't matter. But then that sort of sparked backlash, obviously, within the gamer space, where gamers were going, dude, what? There's like, because Vavra is also a pretty base developer, also very much anti this woke nonsense.
He got tackled back in the day pretty hard by gaming media, got raked over the holes when he said, no, I'm not going to put black people in my video game because this video game takes place in Eastern Europe and I want to have an authentic representation of what it was back then. And I was like, that's fair. I think
that's what he wanted. And he was date set. He refused to budge. That was the rule. That was the thing. He's not going to change it. And this time around, it because it is historical, by the way. He actually came out and explained how they do things. They have historians that they work with to make sure that everything is historically accurate. The story that you're playing, so the character that you're playing is fictional, but everything happening in the world, that is historically accurate. You are basically playing through their history as it took place. So you hear names, you hear all of these kingdoms falling and attacking each other. That's historically accurate. That's what happened in those days. So a lot of people started jumping on this, as you can imagine, saying, oh, gay sex, woke, this is a betrayal. You said that you're one of us, and now you're not one of us. You're sneaking this in. And my immediate response to that was, okay, hold up. We don't have any context here. Homosexuality during that period in Europe.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely happened.
It would have existed. The problem is, it would have been deemed immoral. You would either have been chased out of the village or hanged, right? Because it was considered a sin, and most of the villages back then... I think in
some places stoned or burned at the stake.
Stoned, because, it was considered immoral lifestyles, right? And back in those days, you had a bunch of really bad people using religion as a way to control society. And so this would have happened. So we don't have context. So to any gamer that might be watching this going, I'm not playing that woke game, you don't know what that scene is all about. It could literally be a world-building scene that is showing you this spicy scene that happens, soldiers rushing in, grabbing the guys and hanging them or stoning them, right? That's world-building, but that is historically accurate. That kind of shit did happen back in those days. Does that make it woke? No, it makes it part of the world. That is how the world was back then. Now, if it is two guys going at it, and then suddenly they are declared mayors of the town, that would be woke, because that would absolutely not have happened, right?
Or if they have a child all of a sudden, somehow.
That would have been woke. You know, if suddenly the dude is pooping out a child, that would have been like, whoa, that's not accurate.
How's that?
But since we don't know, since we don't know, it and this is, again, what I said to you guys earlier about the big taint. You have some people that are super sensitive to this stuff. So whenever there's a mention of it, there is an immediate backlash. The backlash comes from a decent place. It comes from a place of trying to tell the developer beforehand, look, don't ruin your game, please. But sometimes it is necessary for us to quell these urges and sort of quiet down and say, let's see.
If I'm not mistaken, the developers came out and said, don't believe everything you hear, something to that nature. So
the developers didn't say anything specific. So they didn't say that there isn't banning, like it isn't banned in Saudi or anything like that. They just said, don't believe everything you see. And then they actually made a very good point. When they sent out copies to people, they told them that you can use your own footage. So they were like, full on, do what you want, right? We're not going to tell you what you can or cannot use. You can use your own footage. And they said you can go and do your own research. Look at the gameplay, look at the game, and you'll see, right?
Yeah.
So, I think...
The thing for me is I would actually play the game. The problem is it comes out too close to Monster Hunter. Like, that's it. It's just like there's a conflict of interest.
I'll probably play the game. I don't know if I'll play it at launch, but I will buy it. It'll be one of my backlog games for the day that the internet goes down and I need a game to play, I guess. But no, I think, and then there was the whole drama with one of the lead developers on the game actually has a pride flag in his bio because he himself is gay. And to that, I would like to respond and say, it is possible for someone to be gay and yet not try to make all of their games about gayness.
Listen.
Right? It is possible.
It's not like they're going to put the gay in you, okay?
Yeah. And they might not even care.
This doesn't happen, okay?
No.
You don't get gay by association.
Well, I think the problem for them is when you look at all of these woke developers, they usually have these collections of flags in their bios.
It becomes a red flag or whatever.
Yeah. To that developer, I would probably say if you want to avoid future issues, remove the flag. No one cares. It doesn't matter. Live your life which way you want.
I would say the developer should do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, so
no,
long,
but it,
so
like I said,
if
you want to avoid
if he wants to
future
avoid
issues,
yeah, sure, but you shouldn't have to do it. You shouldn't. Have
no, if he doesn't give a crap, like if this doesn't bother him,
but the thing
keep
is,
it. Who cares?
People shouldn't be going after other people just because they have flags in their bios. Just like the same way that some of these other people are coming after them because they have anime profile pics or whatever the fuck. It's like,
yeah.
Just stop. This is like
no, but I think
nowadays it's like you look at one tiny like a flag on Twitter is like a couple of pixels, and you look at that and you're just like you instantly judge somebody's whole history based on what flag they have on their Twitter bio. I'm like, come on, bro. It's not that deep.
I try to always keep that in mind. So whenever I cover videos about this stuff and whenever I talk about this stuff, I try to be nuanced and understand that there's a principle here.
But you're gonna
but
say
I
that
do.
I know I see a pattern is what you're gonna say.
No. I understand the people that spot the pattern, right? So I understand because remember, gamers are pattern recognizers by default.
More than most people, yes.
Yeah,
true.
We're very good at spotting patterns.
We're designed for pattern recognition.
Yeah, and for all of our history, pattern recognition kept us alive. It's the reason we're here today. So it's very much ingrained in us to spot a pattern, make a judgment call, move on. It is important that you spot the pattern, make the judgment because you can't help that. That happens immediately. But then question the judgment that you just made. Right? Am I overreacting? Am I not overreacting? Where exactly am I on this? But not everyone does that, and not everyone has time. So I fully understand that there are certain gamers that see that flag and just go, well, here we go again, because we've seen that flag in other developers' names and bios, and they have all turned out to be super anti-gamer, right? So we just believe that flag is bad. So I fully understand that. Personally, I don't think people should have flags in their bio because it doesn't matter. Live your life whichever way you want. Why are you signaling it?
People should do whatever the fuck they want. I think people should just do whatever the fuck. This is like, just do whatever the fuck you want.
I'm talking more from like,
I understand,
if we're talking philosophically.
Your point.
Right?
Yeah, I understand your point. I just
care about it enough.
I just straight up don't agree. To me, it's like, I think people should do whatever the fuck they want. Do whatever you want.
But again,
flag,
I don't think,
as they say.
Hold up, but I don't think you do understand my point, because I'm saying, philosophically speaking,
I understand.
It shouldn't matter at all. Therefore, it shouldn't even be there, because as soon as it is there, you are saying that it does matter, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have it in the first place. I'm saying,
it might matter.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Right? Who gives a shit? But anyways, that's a whole different discussion that we could probably dive into one day.
For another 3 hours.
Yeah. The next topic is actually a fun one, because I think we're both super hyped for this game. Even though it's only just been announced.
And I don't like vampires. That's the worst part. I've been I'm very anti-vampire ever since I was forced to watch the Twilight series. I've been scarred for life. Okay?
But these vampires do look cool, though.
These vampires do look cool, but it's like I said,
they're not glittering.
Twilight kind of ruined vampires for me, and
I kind of like Twilight. I don't like it as a vampire show. Ugh. Yeah, I hate the lore. Like, it ruins vampires. But
so wait a minute,
it's a love story.
You, the lore guy, likes Twilight, but you hate the lore. This is weird for me.
Yeah, well, I hate what they did to vampires. So I sort of view it as this is a separate sort of offshoot, isolated lore for vampires. Yeah. It doesn't affect the actual lore for vampires. So it's not like Dracula Untold, which is actually a favorite of mine, even though it's not. It's like Twilight. Objectively, Twilight is a really bad movie. Well, series actually.
Yes.
Movies. Yes. Objectively, Dracula Untold is also not that good. And yet, I like both of them. Just for fun watching. Like, I don't mind it. But I am sort of like a softie in that regard. I do like romantic movies. I don't mind romantic movies. So I kind of just watch as like a love story and move on. Although I haven't watched it in a long time. But I have watched it a couple of times because it is sort of fun. Plus, Alice, the one vampire in it, is hot as balls in that show.
Who is
Alice? Is the one with the black hair. The black shortish hair?
Oh, I think I know which one it is. Yeah, the one with she's got red eyes, right? I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. She doesn't have red eyes.
She doesn't?
None of them have because they don't eat humans. She's the one that can see the future.
Yeah. I know exactly which one you're talking about. I thought she had red eyes, but I know who she is. Yes.
Yeah.
She's the one that hangs
Alice
out with
hot.
Jasper, right?
Yeah, the one that looks as if he's just constantly have a stick up his ass. Yeah. That's the one. Right? So she's hot, so it's worth a watch for me.
Oh, I see. You watch it for the plot. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I watch it for the story.
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah. I see.
Yeah. But, so fundamentally, Blood of the Dawnwalker. It's a new game by the director of Witcher 3. Most of the team actually come from Witcher 3. This is a small studio, by the way. It's Rebel Wolves, 90 people working on the game. According to what I've heard, that's pretty much all that's going to be working. They are making a AAA game with 90 people.
The scale of the world and what they show at the very end, I was like, okay, that's pretty friggin' ambitious. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did they say what engine they're using? And why is it Unreal?
It is Unreal. Yeah, they did say it's Unreal 5.
Fuck me, no.
The only thing I am...
It's like you're feeding garlic to these vampires, bro.
But I will say, the only thing that I am holding out hope for is I remember a time right in the beginning when we made the switch from Unreal 3 to Unreal 4. Unreal 4 was also very bad. It wasn't good for a long time. And it should be mentioned, Unreal 4 was terrible for MMOs for most of its existence. Like, I remember games would come out and they would announce, oh, we're doing this MMO in Unreal 4 and it's going to look insane. And then I just usually thought, yeah, and it's going to run like balls because Unreal Engine isn't designed to make MMOs. So I'm hoping that eventually Epic gets their shit together and fix Unreal 5 because there is no engine that can match Unreal 5 for graphics. So in terms of photorealism, no other engine matches that.
Here's my take on Blood of the Dawnwalker.
Yeah.
You give me good combat, I'm a happy guy. Because like everything else in Witcher 3 is perfect. Perfect, flawless, love it. Just give me good combat because that's the one thing that I don't like about Witcher 3. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all they got to do. You give me like good, solid combat, I'll be happy.
So the game is pretty interesting in that regard. Don't know about the combat. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But the game has, and this was something that got people a little worried. So I'm here to sort of expel the myths around that. There is a 30-day-night cycle within the game. So the game has a limit of 30 days and 30 nights. And you have to finish the game, or at least beat the final boss within that 30-day night cycle.
Otherwise you fail.
Well, otherwise your family dies.
So that gives it a lot of replayability, I would imagine.
Well, that's the interesting thing here. A lot of people immediately thought, okay, wait, that means that you're going to feel rushed. You're going to have to rush through the game because 30-day night cycle, that's not good for exploration. That's not good for really trying different things or whatever the case may be, right? So, firstly, it should be mentioned that they state on their website, you have to choose whether your loved ones live or die.
Okay.
So it makes it sound like if you don't make the 30-day night cycle, you can't kill the final boss and your family dies, but it doesn't seem like that is the end of the game. It seems like that is just one of the endings. Based on the decisions you make, you're going to get a different type of ending then. An ending, obviously, where your family doesn't stay alive. But, so the way this works is the day-night timer only advances at the completion of quests or the completion of tasks.
That's kind of like Bloodborne and some Souls games. They do the same thing. So it's like you can do a bunch of stuff, and then eventually when you defeat a certain boss, that advances time, that's literally how time advances in Bloodborne. It's like it only advances after you kill certain bosses.
Yeah, so this is basically it, right? It'll advance when you do these quests. So you can go exploring, you can do whatever. Once you start a quest, you're also free to explore every avenue, how you want to finish it, what you want to do. And then when you get to like specific choice moments or specific end lines of quests, that's when time advances as well. So you do have freedom, but here's basically what they want to try and stop. Because the game is described as a narrative sandbox. So that already should tell you everything you need to know. This is Baldur's Gate, because Baldur's Gate is a narrative sandbox. It's basically you build the story, and the story is going to have insane replayability because every choice will affect the direction of the story, the ending of the story, and your build, your powers, all the rest of it. You even have the ability whether you want to stay more human or be more vampire. All of that is your choice. You play the game in whichever way. And it's going to affect the difficulty. Because obviously with vampire comes lots of powers. Without vampire, not lots of powers. But then you can find, apparently, this is what I've heard, different weapons and stuff that maybe help you sort of make up for that if you want to go exploring and you can find that stuff.
My thing about a lot of these games is that I just want it to be possible to play a morally gray character, because that's usually where you end up losing some of the nuance sometimes. Now with Witcher 3. With Witcher 3, you can be morally gray, do whatever the hell you want. It doesn't matter. But like you're talking about, you can get more powerful, you can become a vampire, kind of gives me the, Mass Effect Renegade Paragon vibes, which for as much as I love Mass Effect, I actually don't like the Renegade Paragon system, because it's basically like be evil all the time or be a good boy all the time. I don't like playing games like that. I'm like, no, I want to be evil in this point. I want to be a nice guy in this point, which is kind of like how I played Baldur's Gate 3, which is much more rewarding for me. So yeah, there are some times that I just look at a character and I'm like, you need to go. You need, and I don't mean like go away. I mean like you need to. I need to put you in the ground for the betterment of mankind.
They do say though that you're gonna have, there is no right or wrong choices.
Okay,
but every choice, every choice will fundamentally change the way your game plays out.
I like that.
So maybe by being morally gray, or by being more neutral, you make the game insanely hard for yourself, but that was your choice.
That is fine.
You decided you wanted to play it that way.
No issues with that. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I'll take the difficulty. So long as I get acknowledged for doing that. Because like, for instance, Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't do that. So like I'm not going to use any of these special powers they're giving me because I don't want to tap into my mind flayer side of things. And the game
I went full on, dude. My character had black shit all over him. The veins are popping everywhere. Like my guy was basically 2 steps away from being a mind flayer.
Yeah, but it's like I like it when games acknowledge that, like, okay, you didn't choose the dark side, so therefore here's something. Right. And I felt like Baldur's Gate never really did that for me. And I was like, well, what the fuck? I could have been using all these crazy powers and shit. Fuck this.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like an interesting idea, right?
Yeah,
it sounds like a very interesting concept. And I'm super excited for that. Yeah.
Did they say that it's coming out this year? Or I don't think they announced the date, right?
No, they didn't announce a launch date.
So we're looking at like
surprised.
2026, 2027 at
they've been at it for 2 years. So the game has been in development for 2 years now.
Then I would say 2027 is most likely. So it's a little bit early for being announced, but they might be looking for funding. That might be what this is about.
It could be that, or, and this is again where I should throw in, with the advances in AI, with the advances of engines like Unreal Engine 5, I've spoken to a developer that basically said Unreal Engine 5 takes any job that you would do in Unreal Engine 4 and makes it, I think it was something like 3 or 4 times quicker. because it does most of it for you.
That's why people are using that goddamn engine so much.
Yeah.
It's a damn shame.
The engine has AI built into it. So the engine can do most of the things. In the past, you would have to code every single thing and then make it work with Unreal. Unreal now just does it, right? You barely have to waste time on it. So basically halves pretty much all production time in Unreal 5. That's why so many developers are moving over to Unreal. If they can fix the performance issues, because I don't care that it takes you half the time to produce a game. If the game launches and it is absolutely busted, that will absolutely kill new studios. And this studio has, and I know people like to pretend like they're not in competition with Witcher 4, but they absolutely are. They're operating in the same niche. If these games come out within 2 or 3 months of each other, guaranteed they're vying for the same customer base. And many people don't buy games all the time. So they're going to make a choice. I'm going to buy Witcher 4 or I'm going to buy Blood of the Dawnwalker.
Most people will end up buying Witcher 4 on name alone, obviously.
Dragon Age certainly thought so, and that worked out super well.
No, but the thing was, Dragon Age actually did one thing right, which is they cherry picked their release date. Like, they had nothing to compete with them when they came out.
Yeah, and still couldn't sell shit.
I mean.
Yeah, but the last story for the day comes from, well, there's one interesting part of the story and then one part of the story that neither of us give a shit about. So, woo! Switch 2 has been announced.
Hey, what do you mean? I care about Switch 2. I'm buying one, bro. I like the Switch.
Cool. Okay.
Guys,
Rurikon is super excited about the about the Switch 2.
Listen, let me explain. I like the Switch 2 because I've always liked the idea of handheld gaming, but I can never do it at home when I have a monitor in front of me. I'm like, bro, I'm not doing this with the big monitor. That's stupid. And the Switch solves that because you can just you put it in the dock and now it's on the monitor. Like, see, that's the thing. So I like it. I like the Switch a lot. I'm a big fan. Like it, yes.
I don't care much about the Switch 2. I will say, though, from what you've told me before the show even started, they basically announced announcement for...
They didn't actually announce anything. I think that this was kind of like because of the fact that people kept leaking shit about Switch 2. And it was like, fucking fine, bro. Here it is, all right? You happy now? Now wait until we give you the proper announcement. Because the only thing that they've announced so far is that the screen is bigger, the Joy-Cons are bigger, and probably this is from the trailer. I didn't even think about this because they show the Joy-Cons doing this thing where they're kind of like skating along the ground, and so people are saying, "Oh, the Joy-Cons are going to work like a mouse." So you're going to be able to use the Joy-Con like a mouse, which is okay. Fine.
I guess.
The other thing
I have a mouse.
The other thing
and a keyboard.
The other thing that I can say is that it already has a point that a lot of people are theorizing is going to be a point of failure, which is the things no longer slide on rails. They now attach physically to the console, and there's this little protruding part that people are like, yeah, this part's gonna break like that, and I think that is probable. There's like a part where the Joy-Con snap into place. The thing that they attach to, I think it'll be very easy for somebody to just like take out a Joy-Con and snap that thing in two.
Yeah, that's gonna suck if that is the case. Unless it has. So, for example, my vape also has like a little like a clippy thing, but then it also has metal right here in the tip. So what happens is it magnetized, right? So the magnets keep it in place. So it might be that it has magnets. So it's not really clipping in. It's just
there's also
it keeps it in place.
There's also like an indent, which means that you have to actually pull the Joy-Con outwards in order to take it out. So that might protect it. But it depends on how much the thing protrudes to the outside, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm also very suspicious of that, because like it's not going to happen on mine, because I'm not going to fuck that up. But you know, I see the way my kid handles the Switch.
Rurikon within 1 week of the Switch 2 launching on Twitter, going, guys,
I broke it.
It happened. I broke it.
Oops.
Clip this and keep it.
Yeah,
clip this and keep it. So as soon as it breaks, you can just link in the clip and go, wow, didn't you say what happened?
The Switch that Nintendo gave me in, what was it that it came out in 2017, I think? The Switch that Nintendo gave me more than 7 years ago, coming up on 8 years, still works fine with the original Joy-Cons. Although I did replace a couple of parts on them Joy-Cons, and I replaced the battery on that unit. Okay, works fine.
So not as received, I guess we should say then.
I mean, but the thing is, my kid's been playing with it for the last 2 years or so. It's like, you know, you put that shit on the hands of a 7-year-old, which he was at the time, you know, it's going to drastically reduce its lifespan, and it still works fine. So, okay.
Well, you know, the good news for me, now that Rurikon has had his moment to feel happy, the good news for me, and I know this is going to be good news for you as well, because last week I kind of burst your bubble, and now it turns out Steam or Valve has burst my bubble. SteamOS is now confirmed by the developer that is the lead developer on SteamOS team. They are working on a PC port for SteamOS.
Let's go.
Yeah.
SteamOS, baby. I'm all in. No, dude, it's like, get me out of Windows, dude. Fucking save me. I can't take it anymore.
And he had such a brutal takedown of Windows, but in such a nice way. He said, we're not looking to kill Windows. If people are happy on Windows, they should stay on Windows. and you just know.
If you are happy using Windows, raise your hand. I'm trying to lower it a little bit more. Okay, to drive the point home. I'm taking my hand
shoulders
to the ground.
Could fall off.
Yeah, it's like.
So
doing
they
the
are
exact
working
opposite of raising my hand.
Yeah, they have a pretty interesting, but it's like this with all of Valve stuff. Like they did say, they're not super obnoxious about inventing or reinventing the wheel. So when they find open source things that work, then they just implement it into SteamOS. So they're not trying to go, no, we must make everything from scratch. Their idea is, if there's something that works and it's already open source, just implement it.
SteamOS is based on Linux, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Which, by the way, something that a lot of people might not be aware of because they might have forgotten by now. You know what else is based on Linux? Mac OS. Mac OS is based on Linux. SteamOS is based on Linux. Shit, probably Android's based on... Actually, I don't know what Android's based on, but...
I have no idea. But I will say, so what they're currently working on is driver implementation. So a system that allows for you to be on SteamOS and get your drivers from AMD and NVIDIA as it comes out, right? So because that's one of the problems usually with things like Linux and those things. Sometimes some of those operating systems, you have to physically go and do a bunch of shit in order to get it. Whereas they're working on everything. So basically, from the interview, they're working on making SteamOS the premier operating system for gamers. If you're a gamer, you're probably going to have SteamOS installed instead of Windows.
And interestingly enough, them doing that will actually improve things for Linux gamers as well, because companies will want to make sure that their shit runs on SteamOS, which currently they don't have to. So things like easy anti-cheat will actually, I think that doesn't work if it's on Linux or something like that. Or you have
None of the anti-cheat things, as far as I know, work.
The anti-cheat things give a lot of problems to Linux users. The moment that companies start conforming to SteamOS for their anti-cheating systems, that is when things are going to become better for Linux gamers as well, which is going to improve both Linux as well as SteamOS, which is all a good thing. because the more we start getting away from Windows, the better we'll all be, is the way that I look at it.
I feel like a broken record, but it should be mentioned because there will be people watching now that didn't watch last week. This does not mean that Microsoft is dead.
No.
Even if SteamOS is a massive success and it kills Windows entirely, which it could because most people hate Windows, Microsoft doesn't make their money on Windows.
It still has enterprise solutions and stuff like that.
It has enterprise solutions. It has Azure, which is actually its big money printer. It has the AI stuff. So Microsoft is fine. Like, Microsoft doesn't give a crap. In fact, I guarantee you, if SteamOS becomes the premier thing, all Microsoft will do is you'll have the Xbox app for SteamOS.
Yeah.
Like that. Microsoft won't care because pretty much the reason our graphics cards are beyond expensive nowadays, the reason Microsoft and none of these guys give a crap about the gamers is because we're no longer the market. We're not where the money comes from. We are basically, we're a charity case. They make Windows Home for all the poor little gamers that can't afford enterprise, effectively. That's it, right? That's the only reason we exist, is so that we still have, we get the crumbs. And it's the same is true for NVIDIA's graphics cards. They're like, oh, we haven't made a graphics card for the gamers in a year, in 2 years.
For AI.
And just give them this crap, yeah, we don't want this anymore. Give that to them. That's basically where we are. And we should expect that. That's why they can charge the premium prices that they do, is because even if the 5090 only sells 1,000 copies, NVIDIA already made billions of dollars selling all of their shit to AI centers, which, in my opinion, that's fine. But I really wish we could have more competition. All of this news from SteamOS, I think, ultimately makes me excited for the future of video games. And my hope is that eventually AMD can get their crap together to actually start competing with NVIDIA, because that will automatically drive down prices. But then we need Intel to join that competition as well.
Intel's kind of joining in. I've heard some stuff about their recent GPU. The biggest problem is that what these guys need to do is they need to come up with a way, because what NVIDIA is doing is actually very anti-competition, because what NVIDIA is doing is they're kind of forcing everybody to play by their stupid RTX rules. And it seems like, I don't know if engines now just have RTX built in or what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, Unreal has it built in.
Yeah, but the problem is that the games just come out and they will just have RTX enabled by default and you can't even turn it off. That's the biggest issue right now, because obviously Intel GPUs and AMD GPUs are never going to be as good as NVIDIA at doing RTX. It's kind of like back in the day, AMD had the whole Tress Effects thing for the hair physics technology and and other GPUs couldn't emulate that, which, is just stupid little things, but that's what they're going to try and do to solidify their leadership position. But at the same time, the situation that we're in right now is a world of DLSS and frame generation, but that's like a whole topic onto itself. Because now we're basically being sold fake frames. It's like, give me all the fake frames. It's like, oh, thanks, appreciate it.
But I think so. My personal opinion is AMD and AMD, not even Intel. Intel has been sleeping on the idea of having a CPU for way too long.
GPU,
but a GPU. Well, also a CPU. They don't really have CPUs that anyone wants. But they've been sleeping on GPUs for quite too long. But AMD has had at least 6 years now to get in on the CUDA game, to get in on the AI game. That is clearly where the industry is going. And it makes sense that the industry is going there because it makes the game development so much easier. If you don't have to rely on anti-aliasing to get shit done and you can just RTX it, why wouldn't you just RTX it, right? So AMD needs to get in on this game now. It's clear that that's where it's going. Do I like that that's where it's going? I don't actually. Most games I play, I still don't turn on RTX. Not because it tanks the frames, because it actually no longer does. It's actually pretty good nowadays. But just because I'm going to be honest, and this might get me into, like, a lot of people disagree with me. Cyberpunk 2077, to me, looks better in anti-aliasing than what it looks with RTX on. Like, RTX makes things look shiny, and I don't like the shiny look.
RTX and anti-aliasing are two different things, though.
No. Is it anti-aliasing? What's the one?
You're confusing DLSS with anti-aliasing, maybe?
No. RTX is the lighting system. It's the ray tracing, right?
RTX is ray tracing. Anti-aliasing is smoothing jagged edges.
It's called it's something with an R. I was using the wrong word.
I can think of a word with an R, but it's probably not that one.
No. Oh man, come on! Someone in chat will know. Someone in the comments will literally know. Rasterization. Sorry, rasterization is the word I was looking for. Ordinary rasterization would be you physically drawing the light.
Oh,
so you put the light and you draw it. Yeah. Sorry, not anti-aliasing. I was thinking of rasterization, but saying anti-aliasing.
Why is he talking about RTX and anti-aliasing?
Yeah. My apologies. It's been a long episode, guys. But rasterization. So the idea is rasterization
Fake
is a lot of work.
Basically,
Yeah. Fake lighting. But it's a lot of work if you have to do it by hand. I tend to prefer the hand one because, as I said, RTX to me looks shiny. It makes everything look shiny. And I don't like that. I prefer...
The funniest thing in Veilguard, there was this room that had all of these lights coming in, and I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna trace these rays. Check this out, because you can do ray tracing with AMD GPUs. You just need the really powerful ones. So I do have a 7900 XTX. So I was like, guys, watch me trace these fucking rays, and I turn it on, and I kid you not, there was literally no difference. It was the same thing, and I was like, oh, okay, that's great.
It's fantastic. It's either. I don't even notice that it's there.
Rays.
So, for example, in World of Warcraft, when I turn RTX for shadows on and it's off, it's the same. It's the same thing. I see no difference between these two things.
Which is why it's like the tax that you have to pay for RTX has never been worth it. Like, I know that there are some people out there that are like, oh, you don't understand. It's so much better. It's like, listen, from my point of view, from everything that I've ever seen from RTX, it's never been worth it, not even once. Sorry.
I think
feels bad.
There's probably going to be games in the future, and I think there are games now that probably do benefit from RTX, and RTX makes it look much better. It's just not the games that I play. At least from the games that I played, the RTX...
Cyberpunk would be one of those. Like,
it looks like very different.
The realistic mod and whatnot that they've done for it with the body cam and all of that stuff, and you put RTX on in that situation. I'm assuming that looks fantastic. But
yeah, you notice the difference. So Cyberpunk would actually be a good example of where turning RTX on, immediately you notice the difference. Yeah. I just happen to hate that difference. Like, it isn't good to me. So I never play with RTX on in Cyberpunk. I play with normal rasterization. But fundamentally, we do need AMD to embrace the AI revolution and start bringing out these CUDA cores. Hopefully in the future, the technology drops in price, but the only way that is actually going to happen is competition. You need Intel in on it. And this is the other thing that annoyed, and we'll end on this. Sorry, Naomi. Sorry, we're already going way too long here. But the thing that annoys me is that AMD sort of gave up on the top-end battle.
Yeah.
They just sort of went, top-end? What top-end? We'll just make for the mid-core.
But I mean, the problem is, what is the percentage of people that can genuinely afford a 4090 right now or a 5090 in the future, right? Because the thing is also, there's a lot of people in the States that are like, I mean... what was it? The retail price of the 4090 was like $14.99 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's
like, yeah, that's real nice. In Portugal, that shit costs 2,500 euros, bro. 2,500 euros, not dollars, euros. You're fucking insane. 2,500 bones. That's a whole PC's worth of price in one card.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's also the new one. The 5090 is what, $2,000 retail?
Yeah, that's coming out of 2,000. I guarantee you, when that reaches Portugal, if it's any less than 3,500 euros, I will be shocked. I will be shocked if it's less than 3,500 euros.
You see, but this is where AMD shouldn't give up the top-end battle. They should make the price rational. If AMD launches a card that can compete with the 5090 for $1,000, people will buy that shit. Because fundamentally, no one has $2,000 to be, or very few people have $2,000 to be wasting on a card. The issue is when you buy AMD, you automatically have to accept that RTX isn't really going to be that good.
Yeah.
And, well, the other thing AMD needs to fix is their driver system. Because their driver system causes a lot of issues.
I can't even argue that anymore because, like, we recently went through a stint where for 2 whole drivers, which, by the way, I understand that 2 whole drivers for NVIDIA, that's like 5 minutes apart. I understand that that's how that works on NVIDIA. It's like you install a driver 5 minutes, like, oh shit, it's time to update again. And then 5 minutes later, oh crap, we have to update again. Oops. But it's like, for AMD, 2 driver cycles, you're talking like several months, okay?
Yep.
And during these last 2 driver cycles, you literally couldn't run Monster Hunter World on DirectX 12. Again, I'm like, that's unacceptable. Like, I don't care what you're doing wrong. Fucking fix it. It's not my problem. It's your problem. It's on your end. Fucking fix it. Yeah. And they eventually did, but it took them 2 whole driver cycles, which, like I said, several months before we were able to play Monster Hunter World on DirectX 12 again, which is just like, it's unacceptable. Yeah.
Yeah. If AMD wants to compete, they need to start competing.
Yeah, they need to.
And we need Intel to compete as well. Hopefully, Intel will take this a lot more seriously because they are currently on the back foot everywhere, right? Yep. So they're on the back foot on CPUs, and AMD just came out with a new range of CPUs that's going to blow Intel out of the water for another generation. So Intel might be desperate enough that they just go, let's go big. Let's do everything right. So hopefully that eventually, but as long as NVIDIA remains the top dog and really the only player in the space, those prices are not coming down.
Yep.
Because NVIDIA doesn't give a crap. You have to buy it from them. You don't have a choice. If you want a graphics card, you got to go Team Green. And then you're going to pay.
Nope. I go Team Red every time, bro. 7900 XTX. Going strong.
Well, on that bombshell, as Top Gear used to say, we will end this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with me and Rurikon. As always, be good to each other. Be kind to each other. And we will see all of you in the next one. Peace.